Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. Take a look at our gold and the bullshit of COMEX. So look at this diagram. We're at 36.85. At 2 in the morning, it drops all the way down to 36.62. And it goes all the way back to 36.85. What the fuck is that? And here's silver, 42.05. It had gotten to 42.20. That's the joke of COMEX. That's nobody's buying or selling an ounce of gold. This is strictly options, paper, gold and silver derivatives being bought and sold on purpose, screwing around where it goes out. So they sell it at that 36.85 all the way down to 36.60 so they can buy it at 36.60. That's all it is. So they're shorting it and then it hits a point and then they buy it. How illegal is that? This is why we just hate COMEX. It's such bullshit. And do they think we don't know what's going on? I mean, really? Okay. So anyway, I kind of switched my schedule when I was up north. I got up and I swam because my room was near the pool. You know, you got the pool in the hotel. So I got up and I did my workout in my hot tub. And then I would go to breakfast and then I would come back and do class. And then I would walk on the lake and just lay, on the beach. And then I go hit some golf balls later. And so I kind of like that. Instead of waiting till 11, I'm like up. I already walked the lake. And after this, I'll go to the pool. I'd prefer going to the rec club in the afternoon. Anyway, free picks. We've got Dallas plus 7.5. We've got Michigan under with Nebraska. It's like 50, so it's like 56. So yeah, I was asked yesterday by Willie Mays if what do you think of these picks? So I want to clear this up. Hey Luke, good morning. 36.84 on our gold. We touched 37 yesterday, and hopefully we can touch it today. How are you, Luke? Let me know when we're getting together. Bobby did come on Saturday. He spent a good half hour with us. He's just been busy, he said, but with college football, he comes on. I told him you said hi, and I told him when he gets his $1 million on July 1st to turn it into gold and silver very quickly because it's not worth anything, which he already knows. Anyway, so when these picks come, I'm happy to help, but you got to be a customer. I mean, I'm selling football picks. I'm not selling economics. So you can ask me gold and silver and inflation questions all day, and that's a different story. But I am selling the football picks. That's really that's why I'm the teaser king. That's the type of bet it is. So I will give you a free pick, as I've done, Dallas and Michigan under, but I can't answer, who do I like in the Philadelphia game? I can't answer that. Once in a while, I might give a little nudge, but it's not something you have to buy the picks, because if Luke were to buy the picks and I'm giving them out, Luke's going to be pretty pissed. He's like, what the hell did I just pay for? He's giving out picks. So it's not fair to the buyers to just give out picks to people that don't buy. So you must understand this is a paid you're paying for my football picks, although I will go through the games and go through the lines and the injuries with you. And I might say they're a good offensive team or a good defensive team, or they're an A team or a Z team. I'm giving that information away for free on here, but you don't know who I'm picking, and you don't know the locks, which are crucial for teasers, so you bet more on them. So that's why I can't just say, oh, I like Philadelphia and I like San Francisco and I like Miami. I can't do that. I can give you the free pick, and then I can kind of tell you the team. So if you ask me what kind of team is Miami, I can say they suck, but I can't tell you a pick on that. Hey, Luke. Well, that's the whole idea, right? I mean, this is a business, at least the football part. The goal part, no, I'm trying to help, but football is terrible. Steelers game on Sunday. Yeah, they really fell apart. I can't believe they lost that bad to Seattle. I paid $233. Jesus Christ, low level 15-yard line. They were good seats. Yeah, they sound like it. Most of those seats are all 300. Yeah, I don't. You know, it reminds me of Vegas. I did a Vegas show, I think, yesterday. And I talked about how Vegas is going out because the market for Vegas is here and they're trying to sell everything. Well, let's sell the parking, and let's sell the buffet for $60, and let's sell the resort fees. And I says, but that's got to be baked in the price here. And so Vegas is way up here, but the market is way down here. People don't want to go to Vegas and get ripped off. What do you mean pay for parking? I drove up to Lake Michigan. I didn't pay for parking. If they had, I would have probably parked some other hotel and walked over, or stayed at the other hotel. No resort fee, no pay for parking. The buffet wasn't very good, so I didn't eat there. I ate at a regular restaurant that had a good omelet. So I don't know what the market is for the football, but it sounds like as long as they can get this is a whole new Wall Street thing. These are people that don't understand Austrian economics. These are Keynesians. So they think they can sell an electric car even though there's no demand for that, and you'll buy it. They think they can charge for parking at Caesar's Palace and charge for resort fees and expensive meals and expensive hotel, and you'll pay for it. But they're not looking at the market. In other words, there's no market for an electric car. Nobody wants one. I don't want it to blow up in my house. I don't want to catch fire. I don't want to have to charge it every day when I can just put gas in the car, and it's good for a week to 10 days. I can drive up to the Lake Michigan. It's almost 4 hours. And not once did I worry, oh, I got to find a gas station, because I do that before. I fill up my car and I'm fine. And I'm fine when I'm there, and I'm fine when I drive back. But in an electric car, I could go out in the morning and it'd be dead. And I can't open it because it needs the electric. So that's where you got to you got to understand your market. And in Luke's case with tennis rackets, you got to understand what this is. How much can I sell my tennis racket for? Oh, $300. Okay. And then that's where you sell it. The market says 300. Luke sells it for 3. Now, Luke can try to sell it for 4, but the market's 3. He might get a few people, but most other people will go somewhere else if there's competition for the market. But Luke's job is to find the market. And can he charge more? I don't know. Maybe, but you're going to lose a lot. People, I'll pay 300. That's it. I like tennis, but I don't like it that much. I need a racket. You know what? I'll get a different racket. So he's got to be very careful what the market will pay for it. And in football, it seems like he's paying for it. So the market is paying. In Detroit, they're like $500 a ticket. These people are idiots to go to a Lion game and pay $500. It seems like prices continue to go higher. My brother-in-law sold a parking pass for a Bulldogs game yesterday for $207. I assume Georgia Bulldogs. There's so much money still floating around out there. Yeah, but the money isn't. See, but the key is it's not worth anything. So I think you've got people that make money on Bitcoin or stock market. They go into debt, they use their credit cards. They're not really worried about paying it back for some reason. It's like economics flew out the window. Nobody understands it. Well, I'll go to the game. I don't worry about paying it back. It's on a credit card. I'll pay it back whenever. It's insanity. I mean, but I'm older, so I know, hey, you got to pay those back. You can't just ignore it. If you want to go bankrupt, go bankrupt. But I'm not going to do that. Um, there's a lot of money floating around, like I said, from Bitcoin, from Apple and Amazon, and these stocks that have went up. Although you tend not to cash them in, so you might know you have. Oh, I made 100 grand on my stock account, but you don't actually get the cash. Good luck when you need the cash. Or Bitcoin's the same thing. Well, Bitcoin, I bought it at $500. It's now 100,000. So I've got all this money. So you spend it, but you really don't have the money. It's just the Bitcoin's up. It's sort of like gold. I bought gold I bought this at 250, and now it's 3686 right now. And I know I made money on it, but I don't actually I haven't cashed it. And this is the thing most people don't understand is there's no such thing as profit taking in gold. You don't profit take. The point of gold is to get out of the dollar because this is collapsed and worth nothing. So these people who are buying the football tickets and going to Vegas and whatever else, putting it on their credit cards, don't realize this is worthless. The gold people understand that. So we buy gold, but we don't buy it to profit take. We don't buy it at 250 to sell it at 3,600, right? That's not why we buy it. We buy it to get out of dollars because this is bankrupt. That's the point of buying the gold. So why would I sell the gold to get back into this, even though it's gone up quite a bit, but yet I don't want to get into this. That's the point of buying the gold and buying the silvers to get out of this. So once you understand you need to get out of dollars, you're not selling it to get back into dollars. Right? That's why I use the Titanic as the example. The boat sinking, you get into the lifeboat. In this case, the dollar sinking, and you're in the lifeboat, gold and silver. But why would I get out of the lifeboat and go back on the Titanic? The boat's sinking. I got off the boat for safety. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting out of the dollar for safety. But I'm not the only time I'm selling my gold and silver is if I absolutely need it. I want to go on a vacation I don't even know if I'll go to Europe anymore. They're all going bankrupt. But you take it for an expense that you're going to use pretty quickly if you run out of money. The object is to not run out of money, so you keep your gold and don't sell it and then watch gold go up. I still try to explain to Jenna, like, I'm not selling the gold at 3,600 when it's going to 20,000. I might sell an ounce, but the majority of my gold will be kept until, and really it's not even that. It depends what the money is at that point. I'll probably look for BRICS money, right? So I'll probably want to sell it for gold back rubles or gold back yuan or something, not US crap monopoly money, right? I don't want to sell my gold for nothing, for junk. I want to sell my gold for BRICS money that's backed by gold. That would be my thought. Luke, silver price at 42, pretty dang good, and we'll go much higher. Yeah, I mean, it'll be $100 soon. The thing with COMEX, which is a joke, is if we look at the chart, and you look at the chart of silver, and it's exactly the same as gold most of the time. So it was 42, and it fell down to 41.30, and now it's back to 42.09. It's the high for the day, and you like, why did it go down? because this is not physical. This is paper. This is not going down because people are selling, and it doesn't go up because people are buying. This is strictly option related. That's it, period. And it's a joke. And when I go to, so you watch that chart and I go to gold and, oh, it's the same chart. Well, how did that happen? This is such bullshit, but it's paper. So Alyssa asked me, well, will silver go down? And I said, physical silver will never go down. Paper silver will go down. And this is what Egon says about that it goes up, and it's like a roller coaster. Well, but this paper silver is a roller coaster. This is paper silver. Physical silver didn't move. Physical silver is probably still $100 an ounce. When China and these guys are buying silver, they're not paying 42. They're probably paying 75, 80 for it. But you don't see that. This is the only thing you actually see, 36.86. Anyway, yeah, silver easily 100, on its way to 500 an ounce. Psychologically, we got to break 50 because people are clueless. They don't understand anything. So when they see 42, they can't comprehend why it's 42. It's the same reason. You got to get out of this, and you go to gold and silver are your only two. There's only two things you can get into, gold or silver. You can't get into anything. You don't get into Swiss francs or British pounds or make Canadian or anything else. You get into gold and silver. That's your only lifeboat. That's it. Two options. And as gold is getting more and more expensive, you're running into silver, which will jack silver up. In the physical market that we talk physical. We show paper, but we really are talking physical markets, which are this close from Shanghai, St. Pete, Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, Saudi Arabia. They're all coming out with these physical markets, and they're this close from everything being priced in physical, and COMEX being gone. Hey, David, good morning. So that's what's going on with COMEX. So let's talk football. So tomorrow we got Buffalo at Miami. I'm trying to explain. I'm looking. In the beginning, it takes me a long time because I got to look at 130 college teams. Most of them I don't know. Some of them I do know. Your Alabama, your Michigan, Ohio State. I know those. There's about 40 teams that I don't really have to study. I can just see the game, and there are the ones on TV. It's the Texas State and South Alabama that I have to. Are they as good as they normally are? Type of thing. Or, oh, look who's good this year, or who's bad, or look what the new quarterback is, or bad. Hey, Eric. Good morning. Welcome to class. Just a second. Hey, Annie.
Hello.
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 Good afternoon, Howard. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I am doing good, sir. Sorry, I couldn't take your attend your phone call because I'm not working today. I'm a bit sick.
Oh, that's okay.
That's the reason I took a day off.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. I noticed that you called me.
I just wanted to follow up on the activity with Mercedes.
Yes, sir. Let me quickly check that for you. Can you please be on the line while I check regarding the status of your profile, sir?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just take a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Just a second, sir.
All right. Anyway, I'm up for the Mercedes job, so I'm just following up on that to see what's going on.
Noted. Just a second.
Yeah. I'll put it on mute. Anyway, so football we're looking at. I apologize for this, but I just texted her just to follow up. I was hoping she'd call earlier. So Lenora Sellers, I'm checking on to see if he's playing for South Carolina. And I guess he got a concussion. He got a helmet-to-helmet hit just before halftime.
So the status of the job is currently on hold. That means the hiring manager at MBSS is currently reviewing applications, sir. So if I heard anything back, I'll definitely keep you posted, okay?
Okay, so am I still up for it? And have they?
Yes, sir. You are. You are still into consideration.
Okay. All right. Yeah, keep me posted what's going on. I was expecting a Teams meeting soon, so I just wanted to double check.
Okay, noted, sir. And how's your job search going so far?
It's going. I apply and I wait to hear. Nothing yet, but a lot of applies.
Okay. Anything else you need assistance at this moment?
No, I was just following up because you said it would be a week or two, and I was just saying if that's it. So anyway, let me know what's going on, and I look forward to talking to you soon with the Teams meeting. So hopefully that'll happen soon.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for following up.
Okay, take
Have
care.
a good day.
Bye. See, that's the problem. You get these, and then they got it on hold. All right. So anyway, Lenora Sellers, we're waiting to hear. He got a helmet to helmet, so I think he had a concussion. He had to leave the game. Vanderbilt killed him. So the question is he playing this week? And we don't know. I looked at the injuries, and the coach is waiting until tonight to put the injury in. So they don't put him on until like Wednesday night. So when I go to covers to look at injuries, I don't see it. All right, let's do pros first. Your free play, the pros, is Dallas plus 7.5 to the Bears. I really don't understand why the Bears are favored. This is one of those weak favorites. Now, Dallas, I'm not a huge fan of, but looking at Dallas last week against the Giants, they started to score. Now, how good's the Giants? Well, they're at least as good as the Bears. So we will go from there. So that's your free pick. So let's go through it. So I've graded all the teams now, and I filled in their defense and their offense. Those I will go through. So we start Miami, Buffalo. Buffalo 12.5, 49.5. You can get it under 7. Buffalo is a very strong home favorite. Miami's a very weak road team. Miami's a Z team. Buffalo's an O team. Miami gives up 33 a game, Buffalo 25, but most of that came against Baltimore. Miami only getting 285 yards a game, Buffalo 450. Tagliavua against Josh Allen. And basically the teaser trend is on Buffalo. Very good home favorite. Now you just got to decide the points. You're laying 6.5. It's a big number in the pros, but it appears doable the way as bad as Miami's playing. But again, you get into that. They didn't play in the preseason. It's now we're going into week 3. They lost to New England at home, who we don't know how bad they are, and they lost at Indy, which we don't know how good or bad they are. So anyway, so 12.5. And again, the teaser trend is for Buffalo. So I went into the teaser trends and I did 2024 with 2025, which doesn't show us anything. But then I went 23 plus 24. Now, again, I can't use it like for Caleb. I can't use 23 for Caleb. I can only use 24 because he wasn't there in 23. And so the variables that made up the 23 aren't valid. So when I know Mahomes and Burrow and, Burrow I can't use, but Mahomes and Baltimore and Buffalo and a lot of those teams, I can use the 23 trends. So where applicable, I did. Indy, 4.5, 43.5. This was 3. This jumped up a lot. Let's see how much it jumped. Sometimes 3.5. Yeah, again, this is one of those, you can get a 4, 4.5, and a 3.5. So I'm gonna take this to 4, but I'm not gonna take it to 4.5 because you can get 4s, and a total of 43.5. That hasn't moved. Indy right now is an A team, but we know they're not an A team. But stats wise, they are. They got an 18 defense. They played Denver. They gave up 28, I believe. 446 yards of offense. Now, you did do that against Denver. So it looks like Jonathan Taylor's running well. And it's not Daniel Jones isn't really doing anything. It's not like he's lighting it up. They're just running more, and they're running Daniel Jones. So they're doing what they were doing with Richardson, where he's not a great quarterback, but he's running, and they're running Taylor, and that's what's happening. So it's, again, Daniel Jones against Cam Ward. Tennessee's a Z team with the 27 defense, only 103 yards. Ward doesn't look like anything. How good is Indy's defense? Now, I'm a little bit scared in this game, Indy as a road favorite. They're not an A team for real. At least we don't believe they are with Daniel Jones and with the defense. So again, Denver gets screwed. The guy jumped up and down on the center on the field goal. I mean, I don't know about that. That's a bad call and shouldn't be 15 yards. But anyway, Indy gets the win. But Tennessee with Cam Ward, you just can't bet him. I can't take him as a home dog. So Indy, do you trust Indy? Are they really in a Tennessee's a Z? I believe they are. Ward looks like terrible, and they're not getting yards, and they're giving up 27. So, but I don't like Indy as if this was Baltimore, I'd be all over them. Atlanta, Carolina, Atlanta 5, 43.5. Let's check the other casinos. 5, 5.5. Yeah, they're all 5.5. So we'll go 5.5. And 43.5. Atlanta's a B team. They had Tampa beat. Tampa scored late on them. And then they go into Minnesota and just pound them. Penix looks very good. Apparently, a couple of his receivers are out. It doesn't matter. And in the NFL, the backups are itching to play too. So it's not like if you're starting receivers out, oh my God, you don't have a receiver. They gave up. They're a B team, 15 defense, 342 yards a game. Penix, very good. Goes against Carolina, a Z team with a 27 defense. And this is Carolina's big problem, a 27 defense and Steve Young, who sucks. They only get 300 yards a game with Young. And the key here is they're giving up 27 a game. So Penix should have a good game here. Steve Young, I have no idea. Oakland and Washington. Washington, 3.5, 44.5. Both teams are under teams. They have, which is hard to believe with Washington, but they ran into Green Bay. So you got to be careful there. Now, is Daniels playing or is it going to be Mariota? I don't know. Let's see if we get an injury report. I might have to go to covers. Daniels is questionable with the knee. Well, it's an ankle, so I don't know what it's talking about. Noah Brown's doubtful. Eckler's out with an Achilles, and Bates, the tight end, is doubtful. So it comes down to Daniels. The fact he's questionable, I don't believe it's the knee. I looked at the ankle. Oakland, Brock Bowers is questionable with the knee. Probably not the one player you want out, Brock Bowers. We got a time zone thing. We got both teams are under. Both teams with 17 defenses. Both teams with 330 yards of offense. So you got Geno Smith, 3 interceptions. Gentry, I'm sure he'll get better. Now, if it's Mariota, we like Oakland as a dog. If it's Daniels, I wouldn't take Oakland as the dog. There's a whole big difference. That's why the quarterback's key between Daniels and Mariota. Mariota stinks. Why he's in the league, I don't know. I would think this would be an under if it's Mariota, because I think Washington's gonna run the ball a lot. So we'll see. Now, are these teams really this strong defensively? Well, Washington did. They shut out the Giants, and then they struggled with Green Bay, as so did the Lions. It's a tough one without with Daniels. It's a Washington bet. Without Daniels, it probably goes to an under. Figuring Mariota's going to throw some picks, not very good, and they're going to get they'll probably run the ball a lot. So it becomes a really gray area. Green Bay. Let's see what they really are. Yeah, you can get 7.5. Yeah, there's a lot of 7.5. So we're going to go Green Bay 7.5, 41.5 to Cleveland. Green Bay, the best team in the league, in my opinion. They're an A team. 335 yards a game, a 16 defense. Now that Micah Parsons and Love. Cleveland's a Z team with the 29 defense. You wouldn't think it'd be that bad. The way they handled Cincinnati in the opener. Then they ran into Baltimore. And so this is where it gets a little skewed. I don't think it's that bad. They get 325 a game, and it's Flacco against Love. Teaser trend does go to Green Bay. Very strong in a teaser last year, and as a road favorite, they're very good. Cleveland, not much as a home dog. I mean, because they're a home dog to Cincinnati, they're a home dog to Baltimore and Pittsburgh every year. Makes it difficult. So, I don't know. We got to see Micah Parsons, but he seems to just be killing the line. The Lions' excuse was, well, we didn't communicate well. What does that mean? Well, we're at Green Bay. Could you not hear? Oh, no, it's fine. All the good teams can hear on their own. Like, what the fuck's he talking about? What do you mean by communicate? In other words, since they didn't play in the preseason, the offensive line didn't know what to do. And then in Detroit, it was quiet so they could talk to each other. So now they go to Baltimore, and good luck. Then we'll have another communications problem. Minnesota 42.5 to Cincinnati. No Joe Burrow. Browning's the quarterback. Didn't look that bad last year and last week. I think he's decent. So here's where it gets really crazy. Cincinnati and E team with the 22 defense. That's with Burrow, though. 246 yards of offense. Again, with Burrow, week one, it was 140. Minnesota, an under team with a really good defense, 23, 226 a game with McCarthy, who struggled a lot against Atlanta, and I think they're faking an injury. Let's see what they say on the injury. Basically, he's being benched, and they're trying to call it an injury. J.J. McCarthy is out with an ankle, so he's actually out. Harrison Smith, the all-pro safety, is doubtful with an illness. Aaron Jones is out with the hamstring. Xavier Scott, another running back, is out. Elijah Williams is out with the hamstring, a defensive end. Rondale Moore, wide receivers, out with the knee. Jordan Anderson's out with the suspension. So Minnesota's got big problems. Cincinnati, Burrow is out with the toe. What do we do in this game? So McCarthy's out. Wentz is your quarterback. Wentz sucks. And I'm not sure McCarthy's out for an injury. I think he's out because he sucks, which I told you about that when they drafted him last year. Now, with Burrow, this is an easy take Cincy as a dog, but we don't have Burrow. There's really no teaser trend I could find. Minnesota, I can't use because that was with Sam Darnold last year. Now it's McCarthy, and now it's Wentz. You can see why it's hard to do a technical analysis because you're trying to do a trend analysis, but you can't really do a trend analysis because your variables have changed. Darnold went to McCarthy, now Wentz. So that's the problem. I can do Green Bay because Love was there last year and the coach was there. Micah Parsons wasn't, but he's really not what I look at. In the trend, I look at the coach and quarterback. KC, Mahomes, Baltimore, Buffalo, I can use. Pittsburgh's all new with Aaron Rodgers now. So there's a handful of teams, about 8 or 10 teams I can use their trends. Otherwise, I'm creating new trends as we go, and I can't really tell what they're going to do. That's why we wait a few weeks, but now I can't even do that. I got to worry about Daniels. I got to worry Burrow's out. J.J. McCarthy's out. So I've got a few guys that I'm rebalancing the trends as we go. That's why when I say I don't like trend analysis, it's because those variables changed. That's the point. When the variables don't change, yeah, it works. Tampa Bay, 13-0 was a road dog. Had them on Monday night, and they won. And now they're 14-0 as a road dog. But I can rely on Baker and the other guy, the coach. But that's when it works. But a lot of the times with all the changes, Oakland, now you got Coach Pete and Geno Smith. You can't use any Oakland trends. All right, so we don't know. We're kind of blind, Cincinnati and Minnesota. You just move on. You just say, I don't know. I'm moving on. There's enough games we can bet on. Philadelphia, 3.5, 44.5 to the Rams. The Rams are an A team with a 14 defense, 368 yards of offense, and Stafford. Philly is really going to be an A team right now. They're an under team. They're not scoring that much. 19 defense, 259 yards of offense. Hurts is doing nothing. Barkley's doing a little. Really, all Hurts does is the tush push. That's all he does. He hands off to Barkley, and he runs around, trying to avoid the rush. Once in a while, he hits A.J. Brown or Waddle, and that's it. He's not a star quarterback. He's not Josh Allen or Mahomes or Burrow. That's why they're only getting 259 on offense. But this retarded push tush is ridiculous. You're letting other players push him for yards is totally illegal. I'm sorry, that's not football. Football is up to the running back to get his yards, not to be carried and pushed to get his yards. Then you got in the game against KC, there was 2 or 3 plays where there was a false start by the guard, and they didn't call it. I don't know what the refs are looking at. That's your job. I don't know where the instant replay is to not see that and call it. All of a sudden, you can do instant replay. Even if there's no instant replay, you can apparently they can look at the game, and but yet it's not doing that. Luke, gold could go to 50,000 and silver to 1,000. Oh yeah, most likely it will. But that's where it's going. But again, the dollar's lost all its value. So we need new currency. So what happens? Gold's at 50,000. What do we do? Okay, I want to sell an ounce for 50 grand. Okay, but what do I get? I get monopoly money that's not worth anything. So it's really what do we trade the gold in for? And like I say, you've got to trade it in pretty quickly for a expense. So you have an expense of 5 grand. You sell an ounce of gold for 50 grand. You don't want to have it too much. So you immediately pay your bill. That's why I buy fractional. I don't want to sell an ounce for 50. I can sell a quarter ounce for 10. All right, and that'll pay some bills, and I don't need 50,000 in monopoly money. All right. So what do we do with the Seagull Ram game? We saw Mahomes find the little weakness in their defense, which is the long pass. You know, one guy wide open, he overthrew him, then he hit him again shortly after in the end zone for the touchdown. Philly was nowhere to be seen. They have it. Rams can throw deep. Devontae Adams and the other. Will Stafford have time to throw with Jalen Carter is the question. But the Rams can run, and the Rams have a good defense. This is probably a pretty even game. Philly is very strong at home, and the Rams are very strong as a dog, and I can use those trends. Well, this is just, do you want to bet against Philly? Again, you have a time problem here. This game's at 1 o'clock, which means 10 o'clock in the morning for the Rams. So it's a very, very tough game. I like the Rams as a dog any other time, but this is where you got to be careful. But the Rams could easily win the game. Pittsburgh 1.5, 44.5 to New England. Pitt's actually an over team now with a 32 defense. They gave up 30 points to the Jets, and last week 31 to Seattle. They get 269 yards a game, and Aaron Rodgers, who's looking much better. New England's an E team, 24 defense, 335 yards. Drake May, who's terrible. I would say Pitt's normally the better team, but where does their defense go? J.J. Watt is playing, or T.J. Watt, and these other guys. So I don't know if this is a preseason hangover where they're not in shape yet or what. To give all those points up to the Jets was crazy, and then against Seattle is even crazier. So not really sure what's going on with Pitt. I'm not crazy about New England as a home dog. I don't like Drake May. Pitt's the better team here, but I can't bet a team with a defense at 32. All right. The JETSs in Tampa. Tampa 7, 44.5. All right. The Jets, a W team. They give up 32 a game. They don't score. And we got to check Fields. Let's check that right now. They get 274 yards a game. Fields or Tyrod Taylor. Against Tampa, a strong B team, 20 defense, 310 yards, and they just went to whoever they went to Houston, a very good defensive team. CJ Stroud sucks, and they're doing 20 defense, but they were able to win the game over that Houston defense, which is very impressive. Baker is very good. Tampa Bay, a huge teaser trend. They're like 19-3 in a teaser the last 22. Let's check the Jets. Who is their quarterback? Josh Reynolds, doubtful. Fields is doubtful with a concussion. A guard is out. A tackle is out. Another tackle is questionable. And they're repeating it. So Fields is doubtful with a concussion, but he's not out. Let's see Tampa. Their tackle Wirfs is out with the knee. Chris Godwin's still out with an ankle. That was a vicious thing. Vita V's questionable with the foot. He usually plays. Cade Otton, their tight end, is questionable with the leg. Rashid White, the running back's questionable. And Godwin is out with an ankle, which I think we've already talked about. Yeah, I don't know why they show him twice. They show him on 9-2 and they show him on 9-5. Apparently that doesn't matter as long as they got Evans. They don't really need Godwin. Hey, Todd. Rich has not thrown a touchdown yet. Has he thrown a pass yet? All he does is the push tush and hand the ball to Barkley. They are an under. I'm leaning Rams. Eagles not beating Rams by 10. Well, it could. Strong defense for the Eagles. They had Mahomes by 10, and then he got us that late touchdown. But that was such Kelsey Kelsey looks out of it, right? The Rams are good. You got Devontae Adams and Pukanuka and Stafford. Good line, good back, good defense. They're a very strong team, the Rams. They're pretty much a live dog, but you got to be careful fucking with Philadelphia or fucking with Baltimore. Those are all of a sudden they beat you by 20. I had Denver against Baltimore last year. I was getting like 14 and Baltimore killed them. And it's just, you just gotta, there's a few teams you got to be careful with. Now, I don't know that. I don't really want to fuck with Philly. I agree. Maybe an under. They have the great defense and Barkley running, but he does break them, and you get both ways on it. As far as LA, we got to see how they are with Devontae Adams. You think that would help? Stafford's healthy, apparently. They struggled a little with Tennessee and then came on at the end. That was such an easy bet last week. LA Denver was just a joke. I mean, I couldn't believe I was getting 5.5 with Denver, or 4.5, 5. Well, what a crazy line that was. That's why you make your own lines, right? You make your own lines because that's what you think the game's going to be. And when the real line comes out, and it's, I had Denver -7 to Indy, and it comes out 1. All right, there's my bet. I mean, it's an automatic. I mean, even if I didn't make my line, it would have been pretty automatic to take Denver over Indy, or the Rams. Tennessee was only 5. I mean, Vegas is clueless making lines right now. That's why we do it. All right. So yeah, I mean, LA, they're definitely a live dog every week, as long as they're healthy. And it's just Philly. Do you want to fuck with Philly? I mean, that's always the question. Best team in the NFC, although Green Bay with Micah Parsons is turning in to maybe the second best team in the NFC. They killed the Lions and they killed Washington. So that's the problem. These teams play these weak zones and all these guys just cross the middle, and it's like so easy. But when you face a Green Bay team or Philly who puts pressure on you, you don't have a chance to do the cross under zone as you can against weaker defenses. And all of a sudden you don't have time to do that. Todd, looking ahead, Philly, I think, visits Green Bay, tease the dog there. I think maybe you tease the under there. That's probably an under game. Because Micah Parsons is just Green Bay's not going to, Love's not going to score on Philly, and Philly won't score on Micah Parsons. So the key is Micah Parsons moving to Green Bay, even though he was on Dallas. They were never, like, Green Bay seems to be a better fit for him. They got some Georgia guys. Number 7 from Georgia, I love it. We'll see. Jacksonville 1.5, 44.5. I can't believe this line moved up from 43 to 44. Wow. Houston, what do you got? You got a under team with a 17 defense and no quarterback. You've got 266 yards on the game and Stroud. Jacksonville is a B team, but I'm not buying it. But that's what they are now. A 21 defense, 389 yards on offense. It's mostly Etienne running. It ain't Trevor Lawrence. And you got Lawrence. The teaser trends on Houston, they're very strong. They play to their defense. They try to keep Stroud from throwing interceptions. So it's mostly this tough Houston defense, right? It's a Philadelphia type of defense. Very strong, very hard to move on it. Total of 44. I think that's we go under 50 in the game. Yeah, that's hard to pass. See, you get certain teams. That's why you got to know the team. Houston's an under. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have an offense. So it's not like they're going to put up points. Even though Jacksonville is a 21, but Houston only has 266 yards of offense. So the question is, do you like Houston as the dog, or do you like the game under? I don't see how you play Jacksonville. I don't know why Jacksonville is favored. To tell you the truth, I'll go through my line versus their line in a minute. So again, it's just like last week. You got Denver only won to Indy, and now you got Jacksonville favored over Houston. I don't see that. San Diego and Denver, good game. San Diego 2.5, 45.5. Denver is an under team, 21 defense, 321 yards. They're probably a B team. I think they got like 24 yards, 24 points a game. Bo Nix throwing a few too many interceptions. But again, they had the game won. The guy jumps up for the field goal from 59 yards. What are you doing, man? If he hits it, he hits it. You can't do that. He should know not to jump on the side. I don't know what he did. I don't know if he touched the center or used the center to whatever he did. He should know better. And it's Sean Payton. Believe me, the guy is packing to go. He's going to go work at the Kroger's next week if he does it again. This is a tough game because San Diego now is an A team with a 15 defense, and they played Kansas City, and now they played Oakland. Herbert looks good. Nix looks good. San Diego, 366 yards a game. Their weakness is Harbaugh. He's a big-time choke coach, as we've seen at Michigan, at the 49ers. A lot of special team problems. Free pick, laugh out loud. The free pick's Dallas, what we're coming to. Like I said, I haven't picked the game as far as taking the Rams or Philly or Houston, Jacksonville. I haven't picked it yet. I'm trying to give you ideas, but I can't give picks because the people who buy won't buy if they can just hear all the picks here. So, Denver, San Diego. Again, this is you can take Denver as the dog. You can take San Diego as the favorite there. So now it's not a free pick then. You don't really know what to do. You don't really want to bet against San Diego. Denver is good, but Bo Nix throws some interceptions. Maybe an under. You got a 21 defense and a 15 defense. It's a 45.5. 51, 28, 20, 28, 24, you're a loser, which certainly could get there. It's a very good game. Probably a tease the dog game, but you got to be careful with San Diego. So it's like the Ram Philly game. It's just tough. It's not the right tease the dog, but it more than likely is a tease the dog game, Denver, San Diego. But do you want to go? You're looking for a softer favorite, like Jacksonville, or like Pitt, or like Minnesota, real soft favorites. Seattle 7.5, 41.5 to New Orleans. New Orleans, a W team with the 23 defense, 311 yards a game. Rattler grew for 3 touchdowns last week. Seattle, a B team, a 17 defense, 313 yards, and Darnell, who threw for 3 picks, 3 touchdowns against Pittsburgh. So doing against Pittsburgh, where New Orleans did it against New Orleans did it against the 49ers, and who knows what the 49ers are anymore. They're all injured. Half of them moved on to Denver. I don't know. He did it at home to San Francisco. Is not bad. Rattler, maybe he's getting better. Again, from what I saw in college, he stinks. Now, does he start getting better? Do they start running a better offense for him? Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator, which should help him. Seattle, not a great home favorite. New Orleans, not a great road dog. There's no teaser trend there. Do we think New Orleans can go on the road and win is the question. But Seattle's not a great Home favorite. Now let's see how Darnold is. Is he really as good as he was last year? Until we get into the big games where he chokes. Dallas and the Bears. What do we got? We got the Bears -1, -1.5. So the Bears are still -1.5. You have some Dallas. You have some Dallas minus a halves, which is what this shows. But it's really still the Bears -1.5. Just jump on Dallas +7.5. That's your free pick. Dallas an over team, a 31 defense. They played a 80-point game with the Giants last week. 393 yards of offense, and Dak is having fun with hitting CeeDee Lamb and then hitting the other guy from Pittsburgh, the crazy one. And Chicago is a Z over team, which means they're a Z team, but they're so bad that you can kind of go over on them. They got a 40 defense, thanks to the Lions, 50 points, 328 yards of offense, and Caleb, who just sucks. Caleb overthrows pressure. Dallas will pressure him. They don't have Micah Parsons to do it, but they still have other defense. But the Bears, I think the Bears quit already. I don't think they like the coach, Ben Johnson. He doesn't know. Again, he's new. He doesn't know what he's doing. So I can see, like he threw away the Washington playoff game. He didn't even show up for that. They didn't game plan for it the way they should have, and they lose. He had the receiver throwing a receiver pass like you do with the running back, and he threw an interception, and you're like, this guy is not a very good offensive coordinator. They should have ran the ball down Washington's throat like Philly did, but they didn't. So Dallas, very live dog. That's your free play. Hit it early and often. Arizona, Frisco 1.5, 44.5. Let's see. I don't know. McCaffrey played last week. They lied to us. They told us he was out. So we can't trust the guys. Let's see. Frisco's injury. Juwan Jennings is questionable with an ankle. He's going to play. Brock Purdy's out with the toe. Okay. George Kittle is out with the hamstring. Okay. Christian McCaffrey is questionable with the calf, so we don't buy that. But that's 9-5. So we see them play. So from what I can see, McCaffrey's playing. So we won't do the same mistake twice. The Niners only 1.5. Both teams are B teams. Arizona's an 18 defense, 285 yards a game. Murray, they show highlights. He's running. The Niners, a B team with the 17 defense, 364 yards a game, even though it's Mac Jones, threw for 3 touchdowns. Yes, it was against New Orleans. Here you have Arizona. New Orleans' defense is a 23, and Arizona's is an 18. So we don't really know what's going on with the Niners. We do have McCaffrey. They barely beat Seattle. They barely beat New Orleans. This is not your San Francisco Super Bowl team. This is where we come. This is why we do the stats. They're a B team now. They still show a good defense, but they haven't played an offensive team yet. Seattle, New Orleans, yeah, you're not playing a good offense. Let's see them against Baltimore, Buffalo. Then we'll see what they are. This is a tough one. I don't know if you take Arizona as the dog or the Niners at home, over, under. I don't know. We got burned by a hat. That was my only loser last week, was the stupid Niner over, under 46.5, and they score 47. Motherfuckers. All right, so I'm not talking to the 49ers. Fuck them. KC and the Giants. KC 5.5, 45, up from 44. The Sharps betting the over in the game. KC is actually an under team, thanks to Kelsey. 24 defense, which isn't great. 321 yards of offense, which stinks with Mahomes. You have Mahomes, you should get 400 yards of offense. The Giants are now an over team thanks to last week's game with Dallas. A 31 defense, that's a problem. 369 yards, and Russell Wilson, he threw for over 400 last week. That was against Dallas. But Caleb can't do that, right? We got to watch our quarterbacks. Mahomes should light him up because Dak lit him up. Now you have this strange KC's a good teaser bet here, good teaser trend. But what you have is, will KC go 0 for 3? They're 0 and 2. Are they going to go 0 and 3? And can the Giants really do much? And this is Sunday night, so this is not a 1 o'clock game for Kansas City. This is a later game, a Sunday night game. So KC lucks out. It's really about, will KC lose 3 straight? Will they start off 0 and 3? I mean, that's a strong reason to bet KC. The Giants, no defense. Mahomes should have a big day. Will Russell Wilson have a big day? You watch. Spagnuolo's going to blitz him. That's what he does. Again, they did it against Dallas. They didn't show up against Washington. They show up against Dallas. Now will they show up against KC? I don't think KC is going to go 0 and 3. Put it this way, you'll get a great effort from Mahomes. Will Kelsey get his head out of his ass? He's too worried about that girl instead of football, obviously. Not catching a touchdown pass and then turns it into an interception was a big problem. So we'll see. I'm sure he's mad about that. So I look for Kelsey to bounce back. Mahomes is not going to go 0 and 3. And our last game is Baltimore 4.5, 52.5. Let's see, because they're sneaky. The Lions 4.5, 5, 4.5, 5s. We'll call it 5. And let's look at the total. 52.5. All right, so this is 52.5. Okay. Let's look at injuries. Since the injuries really don't come out until Wednesday night, I went on covers. There's no reason to. Detroit, nobody out. Baltimore, Rashid Ali, good running back from Marshall, is doubtful with a concussion, and Isaiah Likely's doubtful with a foot. He's been out. All right. So my thoughts on this game, Baltimore 5. Now, we know Detroit has problems facing a real good team, just like the Tigers. I got both teams are over. Detroit, now again, it's mostly the Chicago game, not the Green Bay game. Detroit over 24, 379 yards of offense and golf. And Baltimore, an over team, give up 29 a game, but that's mostly Buffalo, and 337 yards and Lamar. Now, Baltimore still needs to win because they're 1-1. Detroit's 1-1, but Detroit went to Green Bay, didn't show up. And the reason, it was communication. I've never heard that excuse in my life. What do you mean communication? Oh, you mean you didn't play in the preseason, so the new offensive lineman didn't know what they were doing? Well, you still have lost the center who was all pro, who's retired. You still have a backup center and guards, and you're facing Baltimore. I don't think Goff's going to have a lot of time to throw. Now, the Lions defense is no way they're stopped. They always have trouble with a running quarterback like Lamar, even Jordan Love. Caleb doesn't run. So it's how much do you look at the Bear game and think that's the Lions, or how much do you look at the Green Bay game and go, that's the Lions? Well, this is on the road. This is going to be exactly like the Green Bay game. In my mind, I cannot see Baltimore losing this game. This is not a tease the dog game. You have to be out of your mind to think Detroit has any chance to win this game. They piled it up on Lamar on Caleb last week. They get 50-some points. Okay, great. So what are they going to score here? I just think Baltimore at home Monday night. Goff does not handle pressure at all. That's why, remember why the coach, Sean, whatever, got rid of him, because he couldn't do it. Sean McVay. I knew it was Sean. So he couldn't do that. He can't handle the pressure. Baltimore's going to be all over him. And basically the Detroit defense is the problem. They can't stop Lamar. They're not going to stop Henry. This should be Baltimore should win by double digits, I think, easily. Now, do we go Baltimore even? Do we go over or under? Total of 52 was 51. 46 is a teaser, 28-20. Baltimore should easily be in the 30s here, and Detroit can't stop them. They don't have Hutchinson. Looks like he's still injured, and he's their only defensive player. And then you've got what Detroit can. I don't know. I thought they would score against Green Bay, and they didn't score. I lost the over in that game. But that was before Micah Parsons entered the picture. Here, Baltimore just shut down defense. I don't know. It could get ugly. So there's two ways to bet, the total or the team. The only thing I wouldn't do is tease Detroit plus 12. In a teaser trend, Baltimore, very good in a teaser. Kansas City, very good in a teaser. Houston's very good in the teaser. Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Washington, but that's with Daniels, and Buffalo against Miami. So that's it. So your free pick is Dallas as the dog, and I would get it in. That's why I gave it to you soon. Get it in soon while Dallas is getting the 1.5, because it's going to go. Dallas will be a 2-point favorite. And then it's not the same bet right now. Dallas getting 7.5. I mean, you just got to love it. And that's where you got it. So let's look at weak favorites. I'd say Indy -4 is a weak favorite to Tennessee. Washington, if Daniels isn't playing, is a weak favorite. Minnesota is a weak favorite with Carson Wentz. However, without Burrow. Jacksonville is a very weak favorite, 1.5 to Houston. Chicago obviously is the weakest favorite on the board. How are they favored? I don't understand. They stink. Oh, Caleb's what? Ben Johnson, what? These guys are terrible. Why does it take you over a year to see that Caleb sucks? And before that, as last year at USC, he sucked. So he sucks his last year. He sucks last year at Chicago, and he's sucking this year. But what, you still don't realize he sucks? I mean, why is that so hard? The Niners, they're a mess. I don't know what they are at this point, and that's it. So that's pros. So again, take Dallas and bet the farm on it against the Bear. Now, I'm excited because I saw what Dallas did last week, and they finally scored against the Giants. So CD Lamb and Pickens are doing good. The defense is playing well. So they're going to score on Chicago. There's no question about it. Do they win the game? They should win the game, and you're getting a touchdown. Hence why it's the free play. I meant Green Bay and Philly. I didn't, I don't know. Philly and the Rams, I have no idea. I don't know that I'd play the team. I'd probably play the total. And Green Bay, Cleveland, Green Bay. I mean, you see how strong they're playing. See, that's the beauty of the teaser. Green Bay 7.5. You got to 1.5. It's just win the game. That's where the teaser. That's why I blow my mind when people don't want to play the teasers. And this is where it blows my mind is people want to bet the guy. Well, I'll bet Jordan Love throws for 200 yards, and but I got to lay odds, and I'm like, what the fuck? You don't even know what the odds are supposed to be. You're just laying out. You're just playing these player props. What the fuck is that? You guys are nuts playing the player props. All right, so that is NFL. Let's just run through the lines in college. Your free pick here. Michigan, Nebraska under 52.5, 46.5. We tease it to 52.5. Nebraska, an 8 defense, very strong defense. Michigan, a 14. Michigan did play Oklahoma. Oklahoma only got 20 some on them. It was 24-13. Nebraska, they don't have the same quarterback as Oklahoma. They're not a good offensive team, but they got a good defense. So you can play Dallas with the Michigan under. Michigan, I think, is a weak favorite here, 2.5. But I don't trust Nebraska Raiola enough. And Michigan does have a good defense and the running. So Michigan could win the game. I would think Nebraska's going to win the game, but there will not be points in the game. This will be in the 20s, and you're looking at 52, which is more for a 30-point game, which Michigan's defense will come to play. And I don't like their quarterback. He's in over his head. Now, maybe in a year or two, he's okay, but he's not. He shouldn't be in there as a freshman. All right. So tomorrow, we've got Rice at Charlotte. Rice 2.5, 44.5. Rice is an under team, 21 defense. Charlotte's the Z team. So I will note the Z teams, and I'll note the A teams, which is why we do what we do, right? Charlotte's a Z team with a 30 defense. Rice has been playing pretty good. They did have a good upset. Then they got killed by Houston, which led me to taking Houston over Colorado last week. Although I like Houston's coach. It's really finding the coach, finding the quarterback, which is what I study is the quarterbacks. The game's in Charlotte. It's a Thursday night. They're not going to score a lot on Rice, Charlotte. They don't have a good quarterback. 234 a game. Rice, I don't know. You're going to bet them on the road. I don't know about that. Oak State, 11.5, 54.5. Let's call it. I was 13. I'll call it 12. 55. Okay. The only problem here, Tulsa's an E team, but Oklahoma State's a Z team. Now, granted, they got their ass kicked by, I think, Oregon, beat them by 50 points. So they're weak. They have a freshman quarterback who's not doing anything. 237 yards a game. This is a rare example where I don't want the Big 12 team. Normally, you'd take them over the Conference USA team or whatever, but they're bad. They're a weak favorite, but I don't know that Tulsa can handle that. So this is Friday, and then Iowa, Rutgers, Iowa 2.5, 45.5. Iowa's an under team with the 10 defense, although Iowa State beat them. So again, it's who did they play? So you just look at the Iowa State game and it was like 20-17 or something. You go, okay, that's what they are. Rutgers has been playing well. Good quarterback, good running, a B team, a 19 defense, which is what you'd expect. 438 yards for Rutgers, that's huge. So we'll see. This is your Friday night game. And then we go Saturday. We got North Texas 350.5 to the Army. Army was favored by 1, and now it's 3, and a total of we'll go to 51. North Texas just killed Washington State last week. The Army went to Kansas State and beat them. So Army had a bad quarterback. They got rid of him, and they brought in the next guy, and he's much better. You know how good Army is at home. They are okay against passing teams. North Texas, good offensive coach. Their quarterbacks are very good. 51. I got a feeling Army's going to go on some long marches here to keep the ball away from North Texas. But this is a very good game, Army, North Texas. TCU, SMU, TCU 764.5. SMU an over team, 24 defense, 434 a game. TCU is grading as an A team with a 17 defense, but we know they can score 504 yards a game. So there'll be points galore here. Vegas 2.5, 48.5 to Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is a Z team. Vegas is kind of an over team. They beat UCLA by 7, which doesn't look that good. Now that we see UCLA's terrible. Miami of Ohio is Z team with the 31 defense. Vegas should win the game. This is a weird line, only 2.5. Don't know what to make of it. A 48 defense. Miami just isn't scoring a weak offense. You got to be careful though. These travel. It's on at 12, so it's 9 a.m. for Vegas. It's always the travel that you got to watch out for. Louisville 26.5, 52.5 to Bowling Green. Bowling Green's an under. Louisville is like a B. I don't love their quarterback. It's Miller Moss. Was USC's quarterback who did shit at USC, transferred to Louisville. I like USC's quarterback now, Maivia, more than Miller Moss. So he's at Louisville and don't love it. Clemson, 17.5, 55.5 to Syracuse. Clemson, boy, this Klubnik's really a choker, right? They're laying 17-55. Syracuse, good offense. Good quarterback, but it was against the high school team last week. Clemson doesn't seem to be able to score. LSU killed them, and last week Georgia Tech, they only got 21 on. My Georgia Tech team, of course. 476 for Syracuse, 30 defense. Clemson should be able to score. I don't know. Just when you don't think they're going to do it, they're going to light it up. So I don't know. Again, be very careful with Clemson. They've got Klubeck. Dabo Sweeney's on the hot seat. He really needs to go, but he won the national championship. So no matter how shitty he's playing now, he did win the national. It's hard to fire the national champion guy. Although Texas did that with Mac Brown, right? And, you know, they got a good player like you got Vince Young. So he's okay, you know. So it's really not the coach. It's like Belichick, greatest coach in history. My ass. Bill Walsh, Vince Lombardi, Bill Parcells were the greatest coaches. I don't buy that Belichick did nothing. All he did was he had Tom Brady. He got out of his way. And then as soon as Brady left, he didn't do shit. So it's Tom Brady's the greatest coach in the league. Wisconsin 10-44.5 to Maryland. I don't know. Wisconsin's kind of weak, not a great quarterback. Under team with a 16 defense. Maryland's a B team with an 11. I think Wisconsin's quarterback was Maryland's quarterback last year, but he's hurt. Maryland doesn't, they're not a very good road team. Wisconsin should win this game, but I don't know. 10 points seems a lot. First good game of the day, Utah 357.5 to Texas Tech. Texas Tech I got as an A team with an 11 defense, 523 a game on offense. Utah A team with an 8 defense, 500 yards a game. Love both quarterbacks here. I'm so confused on this game because Utah's got a killer defense, but they got Devin Dampier, a great quarterback. Morton for Texas Tech's a great quarterback. I'm confused. Based on that, I should go over based on Utah's defense. And then even Texas Tech has an 11, but I know they're not that strong defensively. I just can't see them stopping Dampier. He's so hard to contain. So this will be a great game. I am very clueless on this. Normally this is a tease the dog. A plays A, but I'm not fucking with Utah and Dampier. I think Utah wins. Close game. Total, it could be 40, it could be 60. I don't know. The way the rules are, probably more apt to be higher scoring, but we'll see. Arkansas 762.5 to Memphis. Arkansas is an over team with a 21 defense. Memphis is an 8 team with an 11, but they haven't played anybody. UAB Tennessee. This is a strange game. Okay, UAB is a very strong. They're a good offensive team with a 36 defense, so they're an over team. 424 yards. Tennessee's an over team with a 29 defense. As we saw, they lit up Georgia. 517 yards in the games at Tennessee off of the loss. They're going to put up 50 points. The question is, you need 62. And what's UAB going to do? They struggled with Akron. So I don't know, but it's hard to lay Tennessee. You're laying 40 points. Again, very difficult. Oregon, 35.5, 55.5 to Oregon State. Oregon State's a Z team. Oregon an A. Oregon a 10 defense. Oregon State a 38. Oregon should kill them. It's a rivalry, but 35 is a huge number in this game. Lou Lafayette against Eastern. Lou Lafayette's favored 2.5, 50.5. We've got Lou Lafayette's an under team. Their quarterback, Howard, got hurt. 25 defense, 225 of offense. Eastern's an over team with a 42 defense, 351 yards. So I would say Eastern's a live dog in this one, as Lou Lafayette is more a weak favorite with the quarterback being out. But with Eastern's defense of 42, the total on this is 51, but Lou Lafayette doesn't have their quarterback. It's all tangled. UCF 747.5, up from 6. Let's make it 6.5. North Carolina, an under team with a 19 defense, 242, and Bill Belichick's girlfriend running it. And UCF is an A team, but they haven't played anybody with an 8 defense, 468. But they haven't played anybody. So you got to discount UCF as nothing. North Carolina, good defense. I have no idea. Kent State and Florida State. Florida State 45.5, 56.5 total. I don't know. How do you lay 45 in a game? Now, Kent State is a W team. 37 defense, 218 yards. Florida State's an A team, 10 defense, 490. I mean, Florida State's going to kill them, but that's a big number, 45. And again, we get into the problem is, when do they pull their starters? So they could be up 40-0 in the third quarter, pull their starters, and now you're hoping for the backups to cover for you. I think the Well, Kent State's a W. They might put up a 60 on them, but it's a big number, 45.5. Toledo 14-50 to Western Michigan. Toledo an 18-15 defense beat my Western Kentucky, and I lost getting 13 there. 421 a game. Western is the Z team with the 31 defense. So that's kind of what you're looking. You got Toledo, and they're only laying 14, where Florida State's laying 45. 421 of offense. Toledo, the much better team here. And since they're both in MAC, it's not a time difference and stuff like that. Buffalo 6.5, 42.5 to Troy. Troy's an under team with a 25 defense. Buffalo's a B team with a 19. They struggled last week. I guess the pretty weak team, Buffalo. 300 yards of offense, 255 for Troy. Good game here. Auburn, Oklahoma. Oklahoma 6.5, 47.5. Auburn's an A team with the Oklahoma quarterback as their quarterback. 14 defense, 409 yards. Oklahoma is a B team with a 6 defense. Played pretty strong against Michigan, but again, it was against a freshman who never played before. So he didn't really look good. Is Oklahoma really this good? I don't know. I think their defense is okay. Offensively, Mature from Washington State looks okay. He runs too much. So basically, he's Josh Allen, not at his skill set, but he wants to run and then he throws. You're not giving the ball to the running backs. That is a problem. It's at Oklahoma. Shouldn't be much. Auburn plays Alabama, Georgia every year. Not a big deal. Auburn might be a live dog in this, but again, their quarterback's more of a running quarterback. But they did handle Baylor at Baylor, and that's the best win of the Oklahoma beating Michigan. Auburn beating Baylor, I think is better. So I think Auburn could be a live dog here. I don't know what to do with the game. I don't know total either. I'm not quite sure if I want to go over or under. Again, I bet it over with Baylor. It did go over. But Oklahoma doesn't have that type of offense that's like a Baylor. Tulane and Ole Miss. Ole Miss 10.5, 61.5. That's a 61. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Tulane's an A team with the 20 defense. They just beat Duke, who's a good offensive team. 361 yards of offense. Ole Miss, over team, 22 defense, 404. Why do I call it an over team with the 22 defense? Because they beat Kentucky 30-23, which is more of an over game, giving up 23 to Kentucky. I don't really look at the game last week against, who did they play, Buffalo or something? So I'm trying to look at the more meaningful games, the Kentucky game, to figure them out. This is where it's hard. They play a high school team, maybe a Sun Belt team, and an SEC team, and it blends, and you're trying to figure out who they are. And you're going, well, they have a 22 defense. Well, they don't. Not really. Tulane's very good, very strong team, good quarterback, good coach. So can Tulane stay in there? I think getting 17, you could. Again, I haven't picked the game. I'm just trying to break it down. So over, I'm not sure about an over here. Ole Miss, you'd think they're an over team, but that's when they play the high school team. Look at the Kentucky game, 30-23. So I don't know. We'll keep that open. UConn, 21.5, 52.5 to Ball State. Ball State is a Z team. UConn's much better, more of an over team. Ball with a 34 defense, 200 yards of offense. So that's how they're a Z team. I think UConn wins this game pretty easily. 28 defense, though, worries me. Because I looked at the UAB Akron game, we should have won easy. And here you got another one where UConn, they should win by 40, but I don't know. Is Ball State really a Z team? It's a little bit early now, and a lot of who they played. Michigan, Nebraska, we've talked about. That's your free pick. Michigan 2.5, 45.5. I really don't understand why Michigan's favored in the game, but the play is go under with it. With Nebraska's tough defense, Michigan's tough defense. Michigan's going to run, and Nebraska. I don't like Raiola against Michigan's defense, so this should be low scoring. Purdue, Notre Dame. This game is down from 27 to 25. Let me just check. I think it's 25. 24.5, 25.5. Yeah. So we'll call it 25. Purdue an E team, but they look really good. They 17 defense. They look good against USC. 382 yards. The quarterback looked good, but he threw 2 interceptions in the fucking end zone, killing our over last week. Notre Dame is an over team, giving up 34 points a game. Miami got 27 on them, and A&M last week with 30 something. What was it? 30. No, it was 41-40 A&M. So I like A&M's quarterback. That's why the quarterback's crucial. Purdue's a decent quarterback. So Notre Dame, I don't know. You think they're a good defense? No, they're not, which is surprising. Yeah, they played Miami, and yeah, they played A&M. And here you got Purdue, decent quarterback, but he can't read the safety, and he threw 2 picks in the end zone. I don't know. Notre Dame, though, is 0-2, so this is not as easy as it looks. Purdue in a huge revenge game, lost 70-0 last year. Look for them to be pissed. Look for Notre Dame, 0-2 to be pissed. Yeah. No, thank you. James Madison, 9.5, 46.5. To Liberty, James Madison, an 18 with a 19 defense. Liberty, an under team with a 21 defense. Duke in North Carolina. Duke, 3.5, 58.5. North Carolina State, my apologies. 3.5, 58.5. NC State, not that good. An E team, 24 defense. Duke is an over team with the 32. So you're really looking to bet Duke over more than you're looking to play them as a favorite because they don't have the defense. NC State's lost, I think, all 3 games. It's a tough one. I would like Duke as a dog because they're going to score for you, but I don't know. Tulane beat them last week. Old Mississippi State, 21-49.5 to Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois, an under team with an 18 defense, 300 yards a game. Old Miss, a B team. Old Mississippi State, a B team, 12 defense, 419. They are better this year. They got the Baylor quarterback who looks really good. Defensively, they're playing okay. So, again, they were a Z team last year. Now they brought in Chapin, the quarterback, so they're much better. 12 defense, Northern Illinois 18. It's a big number. Northern Illinois will play sticky D. Mississippi State probably gets the W there. Our Georgia Tech, 23.5, 51.5 to Temple. Temple is much better this year, but I don't think they're that much better. They're a B team with a 20 defense. Now, they got killed by Oklahoma last week, 42-3. Which is my point on Oklahoma. They beat Michigan and then a Temple and a Division II team. Georgia Tech, Haynes King got the big win over Clemson for us. We had them as a dog. That's why I love playing Georgia Tech. Vandy is dogs. It's like free money. 17 defense. Georgia Tech's for real. They're not going to lose this game. They're at home. Haynes King will run all over them. 23. It's a big number, but Temple, I think, is outmanned here. Kansas, 14.56.5 to West Virginia. West Virginia is actually an under team. It's a confusing team. They lost to Ohio 17-10, and then they beat Pittsburgh in the rivalry, I think 34-27. Kansas is an A team. They did lose to Missouri, who looks very good. And they defense is an 18. They get 400 yards a game. So West Virginia, they both get 400 yards a game. Rich Rodriguez, he got the win over Pitt, showing something. I think they're too good to lay 14 with Kansas. This is a conference game. This is not where I like betting Kansas. 14 to West Virginia. West Virginia's defense is a 14. Yeah, see, it's too good of a defense, even though they lost to Ohio, but they did beat Pitt, so it's all confusion. How did they lose to Ohio 17-10? So that's why I got them as an under, but there probably should be an over with Rich Rodriguez. Kansas is a great team. I don't know. I think Kansas wins, but I don't know by how many. Arkansas State, 4.5, 56.5 to Kennesaw State. Delaware, Florida International, 656.5 to Delaware. Delaware's not bad. They beat UConn last week, which is a big win. They're a Division II powerhouse who moved into Division I. Florida International did beat Florida Atlantic. They're an E team, 24 defense. Delaware, an over team with a 30. They did get their ass kicked by Colorado, Delaware. I think they're a live dog here, Delaware. South Alabama, 14.5, 50 to Coastal Carolina. South Alabama, an over team, 28 defense. Coastal Carolina, Z team, 29 defense. South Alabama at home should blow them out. 363 of offense. They have a good offensive coach. Coastal Carolina, 223 offensively. And 29 defense. A little bit holding you back is the 28 defense of South Alabama. South Carolina, Missouri. Missouri, 11.5, 47.5. Now, look, Sellers, the quarterback for South Carolina, got helmet to helmet and got knocked out of last week's game. And now it's this week. They'll evaluate him tonight and tomorrow and see if he's playing or not. If he's not playing, I love Missouri. If he is playing, this line's way too high at 11.5, although Missouri can still take him. Missouri's an outstanding team, a top 5 team. Great quarterback I never heard of before, but that's the beauty of football. All of a sudden, the guy comes in, and, like Cam Rising, you never heard of him, and then all of a sudden, he goes crazy. So we got to wait for Sellers on that game. Western Kentucky, 10.5, 54.5 to Nevada. Nevada's a W team. Western Kentucky, good quarterback, an over team. They did lose to Toledo at Toledo, but this game's at home. 54. They both have 25 defenses. Western Kentucky, an over team. Good quarterback. Boise in the Air Force. Boise, 10-51 to the Air Force. Boise's an E team with a 24 defense. Air Force is actually an over team with a weak defense, which is surprising, a 31 defense. At first glance, I liked Air Force. After reading the numbers, I'm not sure I do. I don't know how strong these teams are right now. Marshall, 2.5, 46.5 to Middle Tennessee. I don't know why Marshall's favored. Middle Tennessee's a W team. Marshall's an under team. BYU, 6.5, 49.5 to East Carolina. BYU an A team with a 2 defense. They got a great defense. East Car an A team with a 9 defense. Total is 40, call it 50. BYU gets 450 a game. East Car 475. So I don't know over or under. I do know BYU's got a strong defense. They should win the game, but it's at East Carolina. Miami 7.5, 50.5 to Florida. Florida is an under team with a 12 defense. Their quarterback threw 5 interceptions to Bobby last week. Miami's an 8 team with a 13 defense, 415 a game. I'd be shocked if Miami lost this game after Florida played LSU, got their ass kicked. I don't think they're gonna beat Miami here. Very good game. Indiana 5.5, 52.5 to Illinois. I'm kind of surprised that I thought this line would be 3. Let's check injuries here. Do we have injuries to Illinois? Illinois injury, nothing. You can't use this for injury. I don't know. This is a tease the dog game for me. 5.5, 52. Both are A teams with 7 defenses. So I don't know. Indiana likes to run the ball, and Illinois has a really good quarterback. So this should be a real good game. Arizona State Baylor, another real good game. Baylor 2.5, 59.5. Arizona State's a B team with the 19 defense. Baylor, obviously an over team, always with the 30 defense, 500 yards. Baylor will score early and often. Arizona State can play pretty well. 59, so it's a 53, 24-20. No, 28. 30 to 24 we need for 54. We should get there with Baylor. We'll see. They did play Auburn over. Stanford, Virginia. Virginia is 16.5, 49.5, up from 15. Let's check the numbers. There's a 15.5. All right. 15.5, 49.5. Virginia, a very explosive team, good quarterback from North Texas, an A team with a 20 defense, 500 yards a game, and Stanford's a W team with a 23 defense, 262, and they get to travel from Stanford, California to Virginia. The game is a night game, so they are getting a break there. But look, Virginia's a much improved team. L-Tech and Southern Miss. L-Tech is 350.5. Southern Miss is much better. They got the Marshall plan going. A B team with the 25 defense, 348 a game. I don't know. L-Tech's an under team, so it's hard to know if Southern Miss has got to Marshall. They have a good quarterback and a good coach. We know that. Washington State, 19.5, 52.5. Washington, an A team with a 15 defense. Washington State, a W team with a 27. Washington is great quarterback, 544 yards a game. Washington State, 301, just got blown out last week. A W team. But it is a rivalry. Vanderbilt, Georgia State. Vanderbilt, 27.5, 53.5. You've got Georgia State, a Z team with a 40 defense. Look for Daggio to have a huge day here. I got Vandy as an A team with a 10 defense. Just crushed South Carolina. They helmet Norris, so we'll see. I don't like that helmet penalty, and I don't like they throw the guy out of the game. Nobody's doing it on purpose. See, this is the problem. If the intent was to actually hit the guy in the helmet, I could understand throwing the guy out. None of these hits are on purpose. They're not intentional. I go down to make the tackle. He drops. Our helmets happen to hit. It's incidental contact. Nobody should be thrown out of the game. At best, it's a personal foul, and that should be it. There shouldn't be a replay. Well, we need to do a replay to see if he actually did. That's all bullshit. So the Vanderbilt player should not have been disqualified unless there was intent. There was more intent on the guy who tackled Joe Burrow to break his toe. That was intent to injure. He should have been thrown out, but not in these games. It's ridiculous. So Vandy 27.5, Pavia against the Z team in Georgia State. Texas 39.5, 51.5. I don't get Texas being favored over anybody. Like 40 points. This Manning's terrible. Sam Houston's a Z team though with the 38. So Manning should have a good game against Sam Houston. Of course, nobody will say, "Oh, Sam Houston sucks." Well, look at Arch Manning. He threw for 3 touchdowns or whatever. I don't know. It's a big number for Arch Manning. It's terrible. UTEP 5.5, 46.5. UTEP's not bad. Lou Monroe's a Z team, 36 defense. UTSA 4.5, 59.5 to Colorado State. UTSA is an over team, 35 defense. Colorado State's an E team with a 27. So the problem with UTSA is you got to bet them over. You can't really trust that they're going to win because their defense is so bad. So Colorado State should be able to stay in the game. But does Colorado State have enough offense to go over the 53 that we need to go over? TSA is definitely going to score. Wyoming, Colorado, prime. 13.5, 44, up from 12. We'll go to 13. 44. Wyoming, an under team, 12 defense. Good. They're always a good defensive team. And Colorado's an E team with the 23. Decent quarterback, but Prime's crying. Cal, 12.5, 48.5. Cal, an A team with a 10 defense. San Diego State, a B team with an 18 defense. I don't know how good San Diego State is. USC, 18.5, 56.5 to Michigan State. That's across the board. Michigan State's an E team with a 23 defense. USC's an A with a 16. They look much better defensively and offensively. They have a good quarterback. And Fresno State, 2.5, 47.5 to Hawaii. Don't know. Hawaii's quarterback's been injured with a high ankle sprain. Fresno State looked terrible at first to Kansas and then came on running the ball. They got a couple of good running backs. Not the quarterback stinks. Kurt Warner's son just doesn't understand. He can't see it. He's just not like his dad. Both with 20 defenses. Fresno State only 2.5. Probably gets the win. So there you go. Your free play. Again, Michigan under. Some others we got to wait. Mississippi or Missouri against South Carolina. We got to wait for Sellers. If he's out, I like Missouri. But the line did go from it was started at 3, went to 13. Now it's 11.5. So we will see. If it goes down to 8 or 9, then Norris is playing. And if it doesn't, he's probably out. I don't know. It's concussion protocol bullshit. So you can see the trouble with college. Nevada, Western Kentucky, and East Carolina, and Stanford, and Southern Miss. You got to learn those games. We know Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State and Georgia and Alabama. We know all that. We know those teams. But that's not where you make your money. We made our money with Georgia Tech and Vandy and Baylor over UTSA. That's where you make your money. But so what I do is look at the quarterbacks, understand them, and then try to rank the teams, which is really hard right now because they play a high school team, a Division II team, and you don't know what do I do with it, So they win like last week. What was it? Somebody won like 60-0. Well, you got to throw it out because it's a high school, but you got the stats have it included, so mentally, well, wait, I'm only going to take the games where they played good competition. Like Auburn, I'm looking at the Auburn game where they Auburn plays Oklahoma. All right, where are you? All right, so I'm trying to Auburn beat Baylor at Baylor. Good defense then because you held Baylor to 20 points and they scored a lot, mostly running. And then you got Oklahoma do they have a good defense? Their offense seems okay, but the mature the quarterback wants to run all the time. So you really have to break it down. They did beat Michigan, okay, but that's the only game. You can't look at the Temple game last week. They win 45-3 and go, oh, they got a great defense. So that's really where it gets difficult, is taking out the high school game. And then, they played Temple. Well, we got to cross that out. And then, they played Michigan. And so you've got 3 different levels of games going on here. But yet, when you analyze the stats, Oklahoma's a 6 defense. Well, really, 2 of the games were not against a real opponent. The Michigan game, they got 13 on it against a freshman quarterback who never played before. So Auburn's got Oklahoma's quarterback, so he's going to know their defense. He's a good runner. I don't know if he can run on them. Oklahoma, the game's at Oklahoma. But that's how you got to break it down. And then you learn from this game, Oklahoma's going to play Alabama and Georgia and Texas. We know they play Texas. And so you just go and you wait on that. Now, that game I'm waiting, Oklahoma, Texas, I'm praying Texas is the favorite because they got Arch Manning. And I love Oklahoma as the dog in that game. So there's games you're waiting to get the right dog. That's a big part of betting, is getting the right matchup. Like I gave you Dallas as the dog to the Bears. Hurry before the Bears turn favorite, or till the Dallas turns favorite. Now it's still 1.5, but it's some. Dallas is now a half-point favorite, but you can get Dallas, get it even, or you can get the Bears -1.5. So we want the Bears -1.5 because we want to take Dallas. So that's where I make a lot of money, is getting the right team as the dog, getting the weak favorite. Z teams, Charlotte tomorrow, Oak State on Friday, but they're favored over Tulsa. Miami of Ohio, they're a Z team. This is Saturday. Oregon State plays Oregon. They're a Z team. They're pathetic. Kent, a W team to Florida State. Western Michigan, a Z team to Toledo. We've got Ball State, a Z team to UConn, who's not bad this year. We've got Kennesaw State, a W team to Arkansas State. A W team scores a little bit more than the Z team. The Z team is really pathetic. The W team scores another 4 or 5 points, but still has a shit defense. Coastal Carolina, a Z team to South Alabama. Nevada, a W team to Western Kentucky. Middle Tennessee, a W team to Marshall, who probably should be a W team also. A lot of it is who they play. Stanford, a W team, goes to Virginia. I didn't write Virginia down. I write a list and then I go, okay, I like these 20 games. Okay, now who am I going to bet on? So I wanted to add Virginia to that because Stanford's a W. Washington State's a W team. They got killed by North Texas last week. Jesus. Sam Houston's a Z team. They play Texas. Lou Monroe's a Z team. They play Utah. And again, you got to be careful on the Z team if they played like Georgia and lost 67-0, they're going to come out as a Z team. No offense, bad defense. So you got to kind of see, well, how do they do against Marshall and how do they do against Maryland and teams that aren't super teams, where then if they don't do anything, they're Z teams. And it starts picking more up in conference, which will be next week, I think. So we're in week 4. We're starting to get conference play, Michigan, Nebraska, Missouri, South Carolina, Illinois, Indiana, Arizona State, Baylor, Texas Tech, Utah. Those are very good games. Texas Tech, Utah has really got my head spinning. Utah, when I looked at Utah, they beat. Let's break that game down. Let's have some fun. So when I look at what Texas Tech has done, all right, so total of 57.5. Texas Tech played 3 games. They played Arkansas Pine Bluff, which throw that out. They played Kent, and as we see, Kent is a W team. See, and it skews Kent because they got a 37 defense, but they gave up 62 to Texas Tech. However, you still got to count it, but you realize what happened. And then Texas Tech beat Oregon State 45-14, again making Oregon State a Z team because it gives them a 38 defense. Morton, the quarterback's very good. But they played Kent and Oregon State. Now, Kent's probably a Z, but Oregon State maybe not a Z. We'll find out this week against Oregon. 45. So they scored points. But then we go to Utah, and we know we got a great quarterback in Dampier. So then we look at Utah's. They beat UCLA 43-10. They beat CPS. I don't know who that is, 63-9. And then they beat Wyoming 31-6, missing 3 field goals. So let's call it 40-6. Let's call a spade a spade. So we've had them against UCLA, and we locked them last week against Wyoming. That was my lock, Missouri, Utah. So now we get Utah, Texas Tech. Utah's at home. Big defense. Now they gave 10 up to UCLA and 6 up to Wyoming, who aren't really explosive type teams like they're going to see with Texas Tech. But Texas Tech hasn't really played anybody. So if I look at it, I'd say let's go back to Texas Tech. So what we're trying to establish is the defense of Texas Tech. So Arkansas Pine Bluff, we don't care. I mean, that's a high school team. Nothing. They gave up 14 to Kent and 14 to Oregon State. Okay, so is their defense, let's call it a 14, not an 11, because you can't use Arkansas Pine Bluff. Utah's 8 it's about an 8. UCLA and whoever they play, Wyoming last week, who doesn't score. Knowing the coach, Utah usually has a good defense. So this is the problem. Texas Tech hasn't played Oklahoma or Missouri or Arkansas, so we really can't get a feel how strong they really are, except giving up 14 to Kent and 14 to Oregon State, 45-14 there. Very explosive team. I think you almost can go over because you've got 2 very strong quarterbacks. We're not really sure on the defenses. I could see Oregon or Utah putting up 30 points in this game. I don't think they have the defense that's going to shut them down. And Texas Tech probably is going to put up points on Utah. So it's almost an over. It's almost Texas Tech in 9, except for I'm scared. I don't want to bet against Utah with that defense and that good coach, good quarterback. So it makes it where you really don't want to bet too much against them. But that's how you break it down. You've got to look at Texas Tech throwing out Arkansas Pine Bluff. Then you've got Kent, and even Oregon State isn't that good. So how do you really know Texas Tech's defense? You don't. That's the problem. So we learn it after the Utah game, but if we want to bet the Utah game, we don't really know what it is. So you go through that, and that's what you look for. Now, when I get a Baylor Auburn game in the beginning, I locked it over and it won. That was good, but I knew what I had there. Fucking leave me alone. Anyway, so that's football. That's the trouble with college over pro. Pros, you kind of look at it differently. Like Baltimore played Buffalo and it's 41-40. And both defenses aren't that bad. So you got to kind of skew it down a little bit. But when they play, Frisco beat New Orleans and Carolina, you don't really learn anything there either. But at least they're playing just pros. That's the thing in college. I don't understand these Division II games. All right. So what I do is then after looking at the whole Bible, I then pick a part of them, and you hear me saying that, and then I go from there and I go, okay, who do I want to play? Who do I want to bet? So it goes, well, I like this team and I like that team, but who do I want to bet out of all that? And I think there's 3 or 4 locks that I'll pick that I like. And a lot of it, sometimes I'm taking a strong offense against the Z team, like I did with UAB and Akron last week. And yet they didn't. Their defense was terrible, and they let Akron score too much. Sometimes I'm looking for a weak favorite, as I explained in the so a weak favorite here is, let's say, who's a weak favorite? Like Buffalo 6 to Troy. Buffalo is kind of a weak favorite there. Am I going to play Troy? Not in college. Well, let's see if there's a better where I'm taking the dog because of that. Well, I guess Michigan. If we look at Michigan, Nebraska, Michigan 2.5, I think is a weak favorite in this game. And I think Nebraska 8.5 is good, but I like the under better. So I'm playing the under because of 2 good defenses. But I would say Michigan at Nebraska is a weak favorite. Nebraska I got is a 7-point favorite, and Michigan's laying 2.5. Really doesn't make sense. The quarterback is not ready. A lot of that's coming from they beat Central Michigan 73-3 after losing at Oklahoma. And so all they're seeing is the 73-3 to Central Michigan going, oh, I bet Michigan. Look at the Oklahoma game, and Nebraska's got a better defense than Oklahoma. So Michigan couldn't do anything against Oklahoma. Not going to do much against Nebraska. They're not going to go up and down the field. So that's kind of what you see. That's kind of what you're looking for, is that the wrong team being favored or the wrong point. Baylor 2 against Arizona State's a real pick'em type of game. LTech Southern Miss, there you go. That's a weak favorite. LTech 3, 51. Southern Miss is much improved because they're the Marshall team. And so that's kind of where I would say they're a weak favorite, and Southern Miss is a strong enough dog to play. I might play Southern Miss, but It's one of the group. And then I don't know if I bet it. Now, after going through this exercise, we then go to covers, but I don't know. No, we don't even have it yet. I think we need it tomorrow. We have to check injuries like Lenora Sellers. Is Lenora Sellers, the South Carolina quarterback, is very good playing? If he's out, I love Missouri. If he's playing, I ain't gonna play the game. Let's see. We've got gold going out, didn't drop at 10, 36.83. Silver right around 40. It did break 42. Resistance at 37. As we were on yesterday doing class, it actually went over 37, 37.02, 37.03, and then it jumped back down, as you can see. But you can see the games being played here where it drops. 6 o'clock. Why is it dropping? It's options. All right, so I go to covers.com. Well, let's check the Dow. So I go here to covers, and then I go to injuries. So it goes through every team. But you get fooled. These guys are questionable. I don't know why they're on here. They're all play. And so what I would do is look at the team I'm thinking of betting. So, let's say I'm thinking of betting Vandy against Georgia State because they're the Z team. So I might check Vandy to check on their injuries and see if everybody's playing. If Daggio is playing, then I sit there and go, oh, okay, yeah, okay, now I'm going to play it. And you check Georgia State for injuries. But if Daggio's out, then you can't play it. But the line wouldn't be 26 if he was out. And as far as I know, he's fine and he's playing. Then you've got your Missouris, who all of a sudden are this strong team. But most people don't know it yet. But I picked it up the way they beat Kansas, and then they killed last week. I had them. I think they played. I don't know if they played Western Michigan. They were my lock. Where's my lock? Utah was my lock, and Missouri was my lock. Yeah, Missouri beat Lou Lafayette 52-10. So I've already sniffed and caught Missouri's the team, but most people haven't even figured that out yet. They're just, it's Ohio State and Texas, and they're the best teams. And nobody does the research to find those Missouris, which is why we're so successful, because we go in blank. When I start the year, I don't know who I'm getting. Then I start, and now I found Missouri. That's how I found Van Dyke at Miami and Cam Rising. It was all of a sudden who's this quarterback? Look at him go. That's what we got in Missouri. We got this superstar quarterback nobody ever heard of. And that's how we win, because we filter into those teams, not Ohio State and Alabama and Texas. We're like, no. Missouri's the team we want to bet. There are bitches. Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech. Those are the money teams. We had Vandy as a dog. They won by 30 last week. Jesus. That's what you're really looking at. It's just the flavor of the week. And so we'll go. Georgia Tech plays Temple, but it's a big number. Vegas is starting to catch on to our Georgia Tech. So we got to see. So that's what I got 5, 10, 15. I got 20 teams that I can bet on. And then it's taking the 20 down to about 10. And if it's a real strong week, that's when I bet a 10-team teaser, 11-team teaser. When it's like, that's a good. When I really can't decide on when I have 5 locks, that's another time I play a 5 or 7-team teaser. You guys are asking me, should I play a 2-team or 5? Well, you can't pick the number. It does the game. It's like I say, I don't really have locks. until I see the game, and when I see the game, that creates the lock. So I could lock the Michigan Nebraska under. I haven't, but I could. I got to think about it. But that's what I'm looking for, is something that obvious. No, these are great defenses. Really, nobody's got a good quarterback in the game. Yeah, this game will be 20-17. 37, it's 52. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's when I lock it. Or the overs with Baylor and Texas State and UTSA. So you've got your over teams and your under teams. And that's really what you're looking for. And as they pop up, and then you kind of weigh it, do I really want to fuck with Oklahoma and Auburn? Or, hey, let's play Vandy against the Z team. It's much easier. So that's also what you're looking into. That's why usually I like betting against the 30 defenses, 35, 40 defenses, because they can't stop the win. If I have a decent team, they're going to blow you out. And that's what I'm looking for. All right, let's change to let's see. Let's see what's going on. Alligator. Let's listen to it.
In an article that I read recently, it stated our over-indebted governments are increasingly losing trust in capital markets, economic productivity is slowing or even declining, and the temptation to run the central bank's electronic printing press to pay outstanding bills is growing, leading to much higher inflation in the future. Your thoughts on this, Alastair?
I think the most important point to understand is that economists around the world are stalling. They're stalling for various reasons. We needn't go into that. But if you look at the recent information coming out of the United States on employment numbers, then we can confirm that this is beginning to be reflected in the statistics. Now, the problem that creates is that the tax base for, if you like, supporting the level of government debt is diminishing. Meanwhile, government deficits will be increasing because the consequence of a slowing or contracting economy is lower revenue on the one side and higher welfare costs on the other, which increases the deficit. So putting those two factors together, you can see that trust, if you like, in investing in treasury debt, and it's not just treasury debt. Other G7 countries have exactly the same problem, but trust in investing in longer-term debt is diminishing very substantially. And this is why there have been recommendations recently from various respected sources that governments should not bother about long-term funding and concentrate more on short-term funding. And indeed, this fits in with pressure, if you like, from the Fed to try and ease the requirements for for big banks to hold capital so that they can expand their debt into T-bills. So what you're doing is, it does have an important effect, because if you're investing long-term, then what you're tending to do is you're tending to take consumers' finances and putting them into savings in order to buy the debt. If, on the other hand, you're doing short-term T-bill financing, you're financing that by expanding credit, bank credit. So this is the equivalent, if you like, of printing money. It's not quite that, but very nearly that. It is getting the commercial banking network to print the credit for you. So this is actually, if they do go down this route, this is going to hasten the demise of the fiat currency system.
I wanted to talk on governments. All right, so how do they set up governments, right? This is the big problem, right? So this was not the intention as the way that the government runs now. It was not the intention in 1776. The intention was you limit inflation and you limit the government because the government doesn't produce any revenue. So listen to the system. So we have this government, or we have this business that spends way more than it brings in. What the fuck is that? And we're going to use money, but we're going to print the shit out of it so it won't have a value. Who came up with this model? Who came up with this how to run a government model? Because it's not what it was supposed to be. 1776, it was supposed to be gold-backed currency. It was the gold standard, meaning you can't print and you can't have large government because there's no money and there's no income tax. I think they charged the sales tax, or they did have small tariffs, but back then it was different. And so the government doesn't produce revenue. So so we're gonna have a business called the government, and we're gonna print the shit out of our money, and we're gonna tax people to pay us so we can work. We won't produce anything. We won't sell anything. What kind of business is that? What do you mean we won't buy or sell things? So it becomes very, very strange that this is the way that you run a government, right? You have a lot of expense. The money you use is worthless because you're going to print it. You should use gold, but you won't because gold will limit you to print it. We can have wars. We can have big government. We can be corrupt, but we're not going to produce anything. Who came up with that stupid idea? Right. So this is your problem all over the world. The governments are sitting there and they're producing, all of them are spending, all of them have worthless dollars that are printing. None of them produce a product, so there's no revenue coming in. So this is the whole thing, right? You have no revenue coming in. You don't produce a product. You try to get money from taxes to run your government, and you're going to have all these wars and you're going to have bigger and bigger government, and you'll just keep printing more and more worthless money that isn't backed by anything. This is your game plan. You're like, oh my God, who thought of this and who passed this and why are we using this? You're doomed from the start. So it's like us having an ice cream store. We hire 1,000 employees, but we don't sell any ice cream. We just put our head out and try to get donations to pay for our 100 employees. And we'll just use monopoly money as money to be used in the ice cream parlor. Well, wait a minute. If we don't sell revenue, how do we pay the 100 employees? And that's kind of what it is. We're using fake money. We're going out and saying, hey, price fix gold and silver to keep it down so we can, price fix it to keep it down. That'll work, and that'll keep everything, good. Oh, okay. That's what the government is. They don't produce anything. They don't produce revenue. They have all these employees that they can't afford to pay. And then they have phony money not backed by anything as their money. What kind of business? Who's the idiot that came up with it? And this is why governments always fail, because they can't produce anything, that they don't make any money. And their thought of money is, we're going to tax you. We're going to get all our money from taxes. What do you mean you're going to tax people? Oh, we're going to steal your money. We're going to charge you for sales. If you buy something, we're going to tax you. If you make money, we're going to tax you. And then everybody really doesn't get what's going on. The big crash is coming in. No, the dollar's going away. But if you hold something besides dollars like gold and silver, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. And that's really what they're not saying. See, that's the problem. So they scare everybody into saying you need to hold. If you hold dollars, you're going to be in trouble. But they're not telling you is to buy gold and silver. And then the same system works. There's no dollars, but it's replaced by gold, and you're fine. And that's what they don't tell you. But the whole idea of we're going to tax people as getting our revenue, and then we'll have 1,000 employees at our ice cream shop, and we won't sell an ice cream. And we'll just ask for people to give us money. Well, why do you have 1,000 employees? Doing what? And you're not making revenue. What kind of business is this? And so you got to think of government as a business, but they don't. Well, we'll just tap. Well, we'll have tariffs. And we won't use gold to back for the money. We'll just use paper that we can keep printing. So it's a rigged system set up to fail from the beginning. How are you going to pay for things? Well, we'll print fake money. It's fake. It's not real. This is not real because it's not backed by anything. This is just paper. It's monopoly money. So the whole system set up since 1971, it's all fucked. Oh, well, we'll keep adding employees. How are you going to pay for them? You don't produce revenue. And that's really what the problem is. And it's in every fucking country in the world, Europe, China, everywhere. It's the same thing. Huge government, but no money. Now, BRICS has come up and said, hey, we're going to get gold. That'll be our money. We'll have gold-backed currency, which is what we're supposed to do. And then we're fine. And then there's no wars because you can't afford a war if you have gold because you can't print. You can only have as much money as you have gold. And so you're trying to, and then they try to price fix the gold so you'll stay in the money because they don't want to tell you the money's fake. This is not real. This is just a piece of paper with a 5 on it. It has no value. Oh, yeah, no, it does. It's got a 5 on it. It says euro. It's not worth anything. So just the whole scam that they're pulling on everybody. We'll have all these employees. We won't get any revenue. We will demand that we tax you on your income and on your sales. Oh, and if you made money on investing, you got lucky and you won. Oh, well, we're going to tax you on that. Boy, who came up with these rules? They're insane. That's why it doesn't work. That's why the world's going broke because it's the same in every country. A lot of government employees, a lot of wars, a lot of you're paying for the retirement. Why aren't the people paying their own retirement? And then we're going to fuck with the money. We're just going to print it. So we'll be okay because we'll print it and it'll have no value. But the government's printing it, so the government keeps it, but it's all gone. And again, they won't tell you to buy gold and silver as your protection, which is what I do. Now you see why. Well, there's no way a government can succeed because they're going to print too much. They're going to print paper to pay all the employees, the defense, the unemployment, Social Security, Medicare, whatever the pension they call it in each country. And then they go into debt because you've got to pay the money back. You can't just steal the money, print it. It hurts the value of it, but then you need money to run your government. So you do loans. You do these treasury bills. What kind of fucked up system is this? It can never work. Never, ever, ever. Rome ran it the best because they had gold, and then London had gold, and France had gold, and Spain had gold. So the countries that were number one had the gold. And then they got rid of it and they go to war. Napoleon or World War I and II bankrupted Germany and England. Now we're going to war to bankrupt ourselves. I don't really understand. War's not the way out of it. Gold's the way out of it. And so it's just a real crazy thing. But I had this idea. I just wanted to talk about it. So every country's fucked because they all run the same thing. And I don't know where they're getting it from. Maybe George Soros. It's a Keynesian thing. It's not an Austrian thing. Austrian, you have the gold standard because they know to limit the dollar. If this is backed by gold, you can't produce too much of it, and you have the gold backing, then it has value because it's backed by gold and silver. But if you don't back it, it has no value, and that's really the key. But but every government, like I say, the Keynesians, we'll have government printing money. That's why I have road construction at every fucking road around here. It's the same thing because they think government spending will get them out of it. They don't understand the first part. No, you can't. The dollar's worthless. You can't keep printing it. You're 500 pounds. You can't keep eating chocolate cake and thinking you're going to lose weight. In a sense, that's what they're doing. And so really that's the whole point. So that's why I yell about gold, is because we see the problem. We see the boat sinking, right? If you have a boat, so let's compare it to the Titanic. If it's got a hole in it and water's coming in, it's going to sink. There's nothing you can do. And that's really every government's problem. They're printing money just to survive the government because all their governments are too big and none of their dollars are backed by gold. And so they all have the same problem. That's why our answer is gold and silver, because you can't print it. And that's the key to survive this shit, is that, but nobody talks about it. Yeah, Egon does, Mark McGuire a little. Most of these idiots don't talk about, the crash is, or I love when they say, on this date, gold's going to do this and silver's going to do that, and the money and da-da-da-da-da. Or Ray Dalio with his stupid cycle things. That's bullshit. There's no cycle. It's like football. You got the team. They're good for a few years. Players get injured. The coach leaves, and now they're not good anymore. It's not a cycle. It's just you have, Mean Joe Green retires. Wagner retires. Mel Blount retires. They're not the same Steelers. That's all. Lombardi quits and goes on. They're not the same Packers. That's all it is. And here it's, you get rid of your gold, the dollar's worthless. You have big government. Why does everybody have such big government? Do we need big government? Are we trying to control everybody with big government? Well, oh my God, there was 9/11, so we're going to have this whole security thing at the airport and stuff that wasn't there before. I mean, it's insane what they're doing. It's just to try to come up with new jobs. They invent them. But how do you pay for the employees? Well, we'll print money. I mean, it's just, you have to have Say's law, which says, and here's my other points. AI will bankrupt the country. It's already bankrupt, but if you we go to a gold-backed system, AI will bankrupt the system, because you need people working who make money to go and spend the money, right? I need to make money so I can go on a vacation and buy food and do everything, which is how the economy works. AI takes the people out of the economy. They don't work. They don't make money. They don't shop and spend. They're not understanding what AI is going to do. It's going to bankrupt every country, if you're on gold or not, because there won't be spend. If I'm not working and I'm replaced by AI, I don't get a paycheck and I don't spend. AI will never get a paycheck because it's not real. It's not a person, and therefore it won't spend. And what do I hear in Vegas? AI security, AI deal. There's not even dealers anymore. It's just, you go up to a machine and the fake lady, deals blackjack to 6 people. Well, she doesn't make money. You don't tip her. She's not making money, so she can't spend money. That's the key part of it. So as you automate and get rid of people for AI, you kill your economy, because you leave nobody to spend, and you still have to take care of the guy who you replace. So I'm not working, you've got an AI or a robot doing finance. He's not going to buy anything, but you still have to take care of me with unemployment, Social Security, whatever. I need to make money because I need to spend money. So the real system is you must have sound money to run your economy, which is basically the marketplace, which is basically supply and demand. You want to sell ribs, or you want to sell shoes or tennis rackets or whatever. You need people making money to buy those. And if you take all the people out, then you have nothing to sell. Nobody will buy because nobody's making money to buy it. So it's a whole process. Go make money and then go spend it. And that's where Say's law comes in, is what you choose to spend it on is what they're going to make. And that's why you don't make electric cars when nobody wants an electric car. So that's a big part of it. But again, the bottom line is you've got to have good money. You can't just print. You can't just say this is money and print it and print it and print it. Now, we agree this is money. This is money. I know Alligator likes to call it debt. No, this is money. This is real money because it's a medium of exchange. It's what I get paid in and what I use to shop. Money is what's the common denominator of going to work, getting paid, taking that and buying things. That's what money is. The problem is you can't fuck it up and print too much and have it lose its value. That's why it backed by gold, because if it's backed by gold, you never lose your value, right? It's always worth an ounce of gold. It's always worth an ounce of gold. What the real value of the ounce of gold is what we're determining now with COMEX. Oh, it's 36.90. Oh, it's going to be 4,000. It's going to be 5,000, 10,000. We don't really know what the real value is. We know that the real demand for gold's up here, and the COMEX value of $42 for silver or $3,600 for gold, the real price is way up here. We don't know what the real price of the value of the gold is. We just know an ounce of gold's an ounce of gold, but it's worth a lot more than we think. And yeah, it's an inflated dollars, but it's been held down, so it's really not. It's really worth 10 or 20,000. And when you guys say 50 or 100, I agree 100%. The problem is going to be when we go to cash, we want to trade in an ounce of gold for money because we want to pay things. Now, we don't know if we're going to be able to use the gold to pay for things. Can I go to Kroger's with the gold? Everybody jokes, oh, you can't take the gold to the grocery store now, because we still have this bullshit. But once this is gone, and that's where we're headed, this is going because you keep printing it and nobody wants it. It's like, it's not worth anything. And as people start realizing that, they get away from it. That's why you can't fuck your dollars. You can't make these worthless because it's needed to run your economy. Oh, we'll use digital. You can't use digital. Digital isn't real. You have to have money that's real, that you can hold in your hand. Yes, we use debit and credit cards, but this is what's backing it. I need this to pay my debit card and or my credit card. I still need this. This is still in the game, and I don't see that going away. I can see stable coins or CBDCs, whatever the fuck they want to use. I would still ignore it. I would still hold on to my gold and silver as tight as I can. I wouldn't tell a lot of people I have it because you never know who can turn on you. So you got to be very careful who you can trust. But yes, you're going to need some for your family and your friends. You're not going to let them starve. Okay, here's an ounce of gold. But you have as much as you can. That's why when you say, how much do you need? It's as much as you can. My guy, I went to the restaurant and he says, well, did you get 1,000 ounces of silver yet? And I go, I got 700. I don't have 1,000. I want to get 1,000, but I've been having job problems, so I can't. I gotta hold my money so I can buy more gold and silver, but I don't want to have to cash in my gold and silver because I run out of cash. So I'm teetering, having cash, and then taking it to pay bills or taking it to buy more gold and silver. I usually go buy more gold and silver with it, only because I know the gold and silver is going up in price. I can't lose. It's a sure bet. But that's the whole flow of it, right? It's a market economy, but we need workers to get money to spend it. That's as clear as I can get Austrian economics. That's it, right? And once you AI everything, what you really are doing, what you don't realize, you've just fucked your market. You have no more marketplace because you have no people working. So therefore they can't buy stocks, they can't buy bonds, they can't buy Cheerios, they can't buy cars and houses because there's nobody to buy them. It's AI is not going to buy a house or a car. So that's what these people, and then you can't ruin the dollar. So basically what you've done is you've ruined the dollar. So you can't run your market economy, right? You've ruined the dollar. Even if I go to work and then I go spend it, and that's why I say spend it quickly on gold and silver before they don't take it, because people will start realizing it's worthless. We know it's worthless. Most people don't. They don't get it. And so therefore, that's why we run and buy gold and silver. But once you take everybody out and you AI it, you have no economy. And if these rich want to be the Bill Gates and the Zuckerbergs want to control everybody, and you'll own nothing and like it, well, they won't like it either because nobody will buy their product because nobody will have money to buy their product. So Bill Gates won't sell any Microsoft because AI doesn't buy Microsoft, right? They don't buy personal computers. There's no gambling. There's nobody with money to gamble. That's why you win if you have the gold, because that always holds value. That's the real money. And so that's just some thoughts there. So again, the government is killing the medium of exchange because they keep printing it because they have too many employees. They're not creating anything, and they don't make any revenue. So if I somebody buys Teaserking, I get $100 of revenue, and then I can go spend it. But that's the thing. If nobody's getting revenue, nobody can spend. And then all the businesses that are relying on people, to spend their income that they make at their jobs, they won't have any. And then the government will go out because they don't have tax revenue. And now they're just stuck with printing money. I love how the government interjects. Oh, you make $10 an hour. Oh, I want $3 of that. Why do you get $3? Oh, we're the government. What a bunch of crap that is, right? You're stealing my income? Well, we're just taking 25% of it. Well, I didn't sign up for that. Yeah, you see, we're going to give you Social Security when you get older, but we're going to keep pushing the age back, and we'll just print money for it, which won't be worth anything, and off you go. And that's real dangerous. So where the government thinks they can steal our earnings, or if we have, I love that. Well, I had gambling winnings. Oh, I want my percent. Well, I had gambling losings. Well, I don't. You're fine. But if you have gambling winnings, it's mostly slot machines. It's not. If you win at poker, there's no tax. Or if you win at blackjack or craps, there's no tax on it. Or football betting, there's no tax on it. That's probably why a lot of people are doing the football, is there's no tax on it. It's just income. But to think you can steal our income, if you're working, oh, you worked hard, you got a master's, oh, you make more money, oh, we want 25%. Who the fuck are you to take 25% from me? I didn't agree to that. Well, we give you government services. We build roads. We have shitty schools. We have corrupt officials that do tariffs and ruin the money. We print your money till it's worth zero. Why do we have a government again? It's really stupid, and they don't produce, and then they keep expanding. So there's too many employees and not enough, and there's no money to pay for it. Or do you just have the employees to get taxes? Maybe that's what they're doing, right? I think the government employee pays taxes. So I'll ask my friend who works for the DOD, you do pay taxes? He'll say, sure. Okay, so that might be why we have all these government employees to bring in these taxes. I don't know. It's beyond stupid for me. But that's really what the problem is. So the system's perfect. The medium of exchange, you go to work, you choose something that everybody likes. This is the most wanted thing as money. So that's it. You pay me in that, and I go buy, and then I go buy things with it. And you shouldn't make things that I don't want, electric cars or whatever the fuck else you're trying to produce, plane rides to Mars. No, no, no. We don't want that. We don't want electric cars. Maybe Back to the Future, we like flying cars, but not electric. And that's really the problem. Is that's where you start getting deviations. Tesla making electric car, nobody wants them. You're supposed to make, the system is I get paid, and then this is what I want, and you make it: a blue shirt, a gold chain, glasses, a phone. You make that I can buy from you. But you don't make things that I don't want to buy from you. You make things I want to buy. I'm telling you what I want. I want a blue shirt, so you make blue shirts. If I don't want a yellow shirt and you make yellow shirts, and nobody buys them because nobody wanted them. So you got to listen to the market and determine what the market will pay for it. How much will you give me the shirt? $20. Oh, okay. I want to charge $100. Well, no, I'm not going to pay $100 for a yellow shirt. Thanks to competition, I'll buy it from somebody else at $20 or $30. And that's really what that's economics, as clear as I can say it. And really, most people just don't get it. Most people don't understand this part, because we need the money to get paid and buy, pending that this is worth something. And what Trump's doing with the tariffs and everything else, and printing, because the government's too large, and expanding the government, what he's doing is he's printing money, which makes it worthless. That's the killer. You can't keep printing the money, and you don't want to make the money worthless, because you destroy the market. In other words, let me go work and then let me spend the money. But if the money's not worth anything, I can't work, because I don't want to get paid in bullshit. And then I got to spend it. I got to go to the grocery store. Oh, everything's more expensive now because you idiots keep printing it. So that's really the problem, is the government does not produce anything. All they do is spend, and all they do is print, which creates the money to have no value. Now you've got 100 grand or 500 grand in a 401k or in a bank. Guess what? It's worthless. Well, nobody's telling me that, so I don't know. Well, I'm telling you that. That's the point. That's the whole point of this world, is to clue you in. So most people don't realize, well, I got 500 grand. I'm fine. I can retire. No, you're not, because you have it in dollars that the government's printing, making the value go down and down and down, which is why apples are $5 a pound now, because the dollars, you've killed the dollar. So it takes more dollars to buy things. That's what the inflation is. Inflation is the value of the dollar dropping, period, because you're printing it, period. And it's not 2 or 3%. But so you have what you think is a retirement is not, it's fake, which is why you go into something that won't lose its value. So you start looking around, won't lose my value. And the only thing is something that's very limited in supply, that's high in demand, which is gold, silver, Rolex, mantle cards. Those will not lose their value because A, there's huge demand, and B, they're very limited. So if I switch from monopoly money into gold, my 500,000 in monopoly money now turns into 500,000 gold, and it won't lose its value. That's the game that we want to play. Is I buy things that keep its value, gold and silver. This is why I argue with Luke about buying the mining stocks. Well, you're still playing with fire because you're still in the worthless dollar, even though it could be worth $1 million, the mining stocks. It's monopoly. It's in this, which isn't worth anything because the governments keep printing and printing and printing and making the value 000. And that's why Trump is going to war with half of BRICS, is because he knows once the gold standards come out, which is what BRICS has already done, you're finished. Your dollar, if I have a choice of buying gold or buying your dollar, I don't want your dollar, I want gold because it's limited. It can't be printed. None of the BRICS are printing the gold. They're just digging out of the ground. And then they're saying, I got 60,000 tons of gold, China says, and Russia 20,000. India 20,000, and Dubai and South America and Saudi Arabia, South Africa and Saudi Arabia and Brazil. They all have gold. They all have real value that can't go down because you can't print it. And that's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to avoid the collapse because these idiots keep printing it. And that leads you to who created the government that is this stupid, that the guys in charge, the Treasury Secretary, the Keynesian guy, the George Soros guy, I can't think of his name. I really don't want to think of his name. What is it? Scott Bassett. He's an idiot. He's supposed to be protecting the money. He's printing more and more and more. Oh, we'll have tariffs. We'll print this. We'll do that. Well, he's a gold guy. Well, no, he isn't. If he was, then we'd be on the gold standard. Well, the government doesn't want the gold standard because we need to print money. I'll just make the gold worth more. Make it worth 50,000 an ounce. And supposedly you have ounces in Fort Knox, but I doubt it that it's the U.S. I think it's Chinese. And so that's what you've got. The government just keeps printing and printing and printing, and it's going to die. You're going to kill it because you've ruined the whole medium of exchange. I don't want to get paid in worthless dollars and then spend that at the grocery store, and it'll take $100 to buy bread and milk. We've seen that game where you got wheelbarrows. And that's why, because they printed so much money in Germany to pay for World War I until it was worthless. Nobody wanted it. And that's what you're doing everywhere in the world. That's why we're so bullish on gold, because the only alternative is going to be to buy gold and silver because it's limited and highly in demand and it's real money. That's why we go. But we see the whole world in the same boat. All these idiots went and did the same thing with their government. A lot of government printed money to zero, didn't back it by gold. What the fuck are they doing? Oh, let's have a war. Well, how is that going to help us? Well, we can sell weapons. Oh, so now you're trying to be a revenue center, a government, and sell weapons. So we'll create a war, we'll kill a bunch of people, and we'll sell weapons to that's how we'll make money. So now we're going to be a profit center, a revenue center. No. That's nobody can afford it. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants wars. How is this your only solution? How about gold? You ever think of that, idiots? So that's what we're running into, and it's just terrible. But to survive, you replace the dollar with gold and silver. We're on the Titanic. The water keeps flowing in because these idiots keep printing and printing and printing for the big government, for the Social Security and Medicare, for the interest on the debt. How did you get a $37 trillion debt? You're the government. You're not even a fucking business. How did you, what are you borrowing money? Well, we got to pay our employees. No, you get rid of your employees. If we're running an ice cream place, we're Dairy Queen, and we got 100 employees, but we're not selling ice cream. Sorry, you're all laid off. That's what happens in the real world. You lay off your employees because you can't afford to pay them. But somehow the government just keeps going. Yeah, we can't afford to pay you, so I guess we'll have to print more money to pay you guys in fake money. And that's exactly the Ponzi scheme going on now. Everybody's getting fucked in the whole world. And your only out's gold and silver, but nobody realizes it. Nobody knows it. They don't teach it. They don't want you to know it. They want you to need the government, and you're going to need us, and we're going to have to print more fake money for you. And that's where it ends up. Is we'll come out with USD number 2, which will be another Ponzi scheme where it's not worth anything either, because we're not going to back it by gold because we don't have any. Well, let's audit the gold in Fort Knox. Okay, why is this taking 6 months? You said that in February. We're now in September. That's 7 months later to audit Fort Knox. Oh, okay. You can't just go in and show the bars and prove they're US's. No, you can't do that. So anyway, most of the people are going to be fucked because, oh, I have $1 million Monopoly dollars. I have 1 million of these, but these aren't worth anything. That's the dot people can't connect, nor do they want to connect. They don't want to know their $1 million is worthless. They can't hear it. They can't hear that they're fucked. And the government fucked them and they can't hear it. That's why we have trouble trying to teach people, right? You try to teach people that this is worthless, that they printed too much, and you need to be in gold and silver. Your $1 million in this is worthless. And all the billionaires are going to be crying because they don't know what's going on. I got $1 billion. Yeah. Most of it's stock money. Like Zuckerberg, his money's in stock. He doesn't have any money. I guess he gets a paycheck or whatever, but he pays taxes. And then as the dollar goes out, so does his $1 billion goes to zero. And Bill Gates and all these idiots, Warren Buffett, they all go to zero. They should be in gold, but they're too stupid to understand it, or they don't want to, or they don't know, or they got $1 billion, or who cares? And this is the problem. This is the end all. So the BRICS countries will win because they have gold. They have it. They're on the lifeboat. Me and you are in the lifeboat. We've figured it out, and we're winning the game. We've won. That's the game, is to get out of the dollar and go into gold. And I've explained that game before to you as like a Lord of the Rings game where you got to find the professor, and I walk you to the gold and you take the gold, and then you win the game. And that's really what the game is. The game is figuring out that the dollar is not worth anything, and figuring out that my 200, 300, 500,000 in the bank or in my stocks are worthless, or my Bitcoin is worthless because it's in dollars. Bitcoin's priced in dollars. I love when Luke says Bitcoin's priced in Bitcoin. Well, what does that mean? Bitcoin's not even real. How can it be priced in Bitcoin? So don't get scammed, and don't be be stupid that you don't know what's going on from yeah, I know that. That's really what you got to know. You've got to understand the game, and the dollar's worthless, and you've got to know that, and you got to know the only out is gold and silver. And that's why I tell you. So you buy gold now, and that's why we're watching. But we realize this isn't a real gold price. This is a paper option price. That's why I show you trading places. So even to get to the gold, you're not getting the right price. In eBay, you get the right price on the Mantle card and the Rolex card and the Rolex. Those are real prices, but in gold and silver, they're not. So that's why we love it, because we know they're at least 10 times undervalued. So people ask me, what's the real price of gold? I go times 10. 36, let's say it's hit 3,700. 37,000 is the real price of gold, but nobody can comprehend it. Well, it's never been this. It never was over 2,000, and now it's over 3,000, and we're about headed to 5,000. So don't tell me we can't get to 37,000, and silver will be the same when it passes on to 100, on to 500, on to 1,000. because of the demand. As people start waking up that their dollar's worthless, their $500,000 is worthless. It is. Once they realize that their only options, gold and silver, maybe a mantle card or a Rolex, but I still want to be in gold and silver because that's money. And I'd have to sell my mantle to get gold and silver. So once I have a lot of gold and silver, I will buy mantle cards, as I show you mine, and Brady cards and Willie Mays and all that, because they're very limited and the price is set on eBay. You know what the real price is. It's got to be physical to physical. Here's an ounce of gold. What will you give it to me? Not this option bullshit on Comex. How they keep it going, I don't know. It's such bullshit. But that's what you must understand. Your $1 million in your 401k is not worth anything. My friend Scott, his annuity, my friend in Florida, Scott, I got a friend in Vegas, Scott. My friend in Florida thinks, well, I get this annuity, so they pay me so much money every month. And I says, it's not worth it. When Canadian Club closed, so here it was bought out by 7-Up. When I was working there, I was getting a pension. Well, when I hit 59, I was getting $300 a month. And I said, well, $300 isn't going to be worth anything. It won't buy anything, but it's not worth anything. As I tell you with Bobby getting his $1 million, the $1 million you got in the beginning and the $1 million he gets now are not the same. So the point was, so what do I want? Well, I wanted gold. But if I took $300 a month, what am I going to, I knew the gold price is going to keep going up and up and up. So I took a buyout of $25,000, a lump sum. Now I don't get the $300 a month, but I got the 25 grand, which I immediately bought. At that point was probably 10, 12 ounces of gold. And now it's doubled, and it's probably will double again soon. So not only did I save it, but the $300 a month I would get is worthless because these idiots keep printing the money. But the gold keeps going up and up and up in value because it's very limited and it's highly in demand. So from a standpoint of understanding markets, if there's a high demand and a low supply, the price should be very high. Mercedes, Ferraris, anything like that, as long as you have demand. Well, we have bricks, heavy demand in gold, but once the rest of the world catches up and realizes the euro and the dollar are worthless, they'll be in the line to buy gold and silver too. We're way ahead of the game because we've been doing it for 5-6 years now. We're $1,500-$1,600. I was looking at something the other day, and I don't know what it was, an email or something, and gold was I think it was $2,000 in 2024. It was 2022 or something like that. It was, let's say it was 2,200 in 2024. A year later, it is now 3,600, on its way up and up and up. So it just shows you how quickly it's moving. You can't lose on it. Just keep it quiet, keep it safe, and you'll be fine. But that'll be your medium of exchange, and that'll be that. So you can't take gold to the grocery store. What am I going to take? Am I going to take this bullshit to the grocery store if I'm in Europe? Am I going to take this to go buy groceries? Well, I'll need a wheelbarrow with it, as we've already seen in Zimbabwe, in Venezuela, in Germany. Funny how that keeps popping up, where they need grease. They need a wheelbarrow full of money because the money isn't worth anything. And that's coming here. Oh, yeah, until they replace the dollar. So Trump wants to use stablecoin. Stay away from that. That's bullshit. That's not even real. It's not real if it's digital, because you can't, at least here this is 5, it's a euro. I can see it. I can hold it. You give me stablecoin or Bitcoin, I don't even know what it looks like. And I can't hold it. I can't put it in a safe or a bank. I don't want anything like that. And then they'll say, oh, you know what? Oh, yeah, it's real. It's not real. And then you end up thinking you have $1 million in Bitcoin and you don't have anything. So if you made money in Bitcoin, you better get the fuck out. because it's in dollars and not worth anything. Same with your stocks. It's in dollars. It's not worth anything. I see the stock market's up like $100 today, and I just laugh because it's fake. It's not real. They're just pumping it. They're printing dollars, putting it into the stock market, saying, hey, look at the stock market. Well, that's not an indicator. Your money's worthless. The more indicator is going to the grocery store and paying $6 for broccoli, that is your indicator that your money isn't worth anything, not the stock market. So they're trying to keep gold down. I don't know why. At this point, the cat's out of the bag. But they don't want you in gold and silver. They want to keep you in dollars. What kind of government is this? Who are these people that are running this place into the ground and lying to us and not telling us what's going on? Hey, the dollar's worthless, buy gold and silver. China does that. Russia does that. They have their people buying gold and silver. But it's nuts. It really is. It's just nuts. Anyway, that's what you need. That's the most important thing I can teach you is the Say's law works perfectly. You get paid and you use a medium of exchange that everybody wants, which is not a CBDC or a stable coin. It's money, but it's got to be backed by gold to keep its value, and you've lost its value. That's the most important thing I can keep and tell you. And then it's basically what is a market? Well, that's what I want. I want a blue shirt. I want a poster of a Van Gogh. I want a gold chain. I want glasses. That's all Say's law. That's all. This is what I want. I'll go to a store that sells it. That's what a market is. It can only be determined by us. The government can't tell us what we want. Well, Howard, you really want a green shirt? No, I'm pretty sure I want a blue shirt. I'm pretty sure I need glasses. I'm pretty sure I want a gold chain. The government can't possibly predict that. That's why you don't want socialism or communism where the government takes over the market or price fixes. You don't want price fix. We'll price fix it. We'll tell you, no, we're not going to pay for $20 steaks. Ain't going to happen. So we tell you that, and then you have to understand that, and not then you lower your price because the market talk. The market says, no, not on $50 ribs. Put it at 30, we'll do it. 50, we won't. So you got to know where your market is, and you got to understand their price. So when I did a thing on Vegas yesterday or 2 days ago, it was basically saying what they're trying to do is force the market higher. We don't want to pay. When we pay $100 to stay at Caesars on a Tuesday, that's it. That there should not be resort fee, parking. That's all included in the $100. Is the parking, is the resort. There's no resort fee. It's the hotel. We expect decent price food. You might have expensive Michelin food, but you also need the food court where we can get a hamburger for $8 to $10. We need shopping that's reasonable, and we need everything that's a reasonable price. It shouldn't be everything so expensive, because your market isn't there. So what are you doing? You're chasing everybody away. Well, wait, the market. See, so they're not listening to the market. These Wall Street people going into Vegas, raising all the prices. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. These guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. They're Madoffs. Even Madoff, at least he gave you 15% on your money, and he paid you, from what I could tell, every month you got paid. It's not like he wasn't paying the people. He was probably the most honest guy, even though he was running the Ponzi scheme. You'd give him money and he'd pay you off every month. If it was Ponzi or not, he paid you off. You made 15. A real Ponzi scheme, you don't get paid. Oh, sorry, Howard. Yeah, I gave you $1,000. You're going to give me 7%. Yeah, gosh darn it, I don't have it. I can't pay you. That's what a normal Ponzi scheme is. What he did was actually real. It was actually, I'll give you 15%, and you have the 15% in your bank. It was probably the most honest Ponzi scheme I've ever heard of, because he actually paid out. So anyway, that's the problem with Vegas is they're not listening to the market. Hey, I want to go to Caesars for $100. Well, yeah, if you go to Caesars, we're adding the parking fee, the resort fee. By the way, you won't be able to eat there and and shop there, even though we have the forum shops, and so therefore I want to pay 100 and you're up here. Well, who do you think's gonna go to see? What are you, crazy? Well, we can scam people because there's all these new people that keep coming into Vegas from different countries, so they'll pay, one time, but because there's so many people, there's a lot of different one timers that come in, if you understand that. All right. 3 hours, I'm at my point. I'm going to eat and go swimming. So that's today's class. Your free pick, Dallas. Get them as a dog because they won't be for long. And the Michigan, Nebraska under is gold. I'm still debating that. Now, I have the lock posted and a couple other picks. I'll probably put a shitload of picks out tomorrow in college and in pro. Pros, I like about 10 games. College, I like about 10. And it's just I haven't posted. When I go through the list, I'm just putting my opinion on the games. Are not picks. Some of them are, some of them aren't. I know you guys listen to get the opinion, but I can't give you an opinion if, like Willie Mays said yesterday, well, who do you like in the? Do you like my picks? I can't do that because I got people who buy the picks. And they're not gonna, if I just give them out, they're going, wait a minute, I paid you for the picks that I didn't need to pay you for. I could just listen and you're going to run through them all. So I run through the games, but I'm not running through the picks. I'll tell you the team, hey, this is what I found. This is an A team or a Z or an over or an under. Doesn't mean I'm betting it. I give some, like Texas, I think is a bit strong. Doesn't mean I'm betting the other team. And I'm not betting Texas. It just means I'm probably not playing the game. So I'm not really giving you a tip. Now, I understand you guys want my picks because they're good and they make you money. I get that. Especially Titus, made 18 grand. Where were you last week, Titus? You never bought. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Sorry for the phone call. I was just curious if I called her a couple hours ago. She just got back. Any progress on it? And it's on hold. It's no surprise. That's the problem getting work. It's just nobody's going to hire. They're all on hold. So we will see. All right. So have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Like I said, the lock's posted. I got three teasers posted and I'll post probably a lot tomorrow. Pros, I'm pretty sure what I want. Again, I'm waiting. Is Daniel's injured? Is Burrow, we know's out. College is Norris playing more or less. If I want to bet Missouri or not, and other games, and then I'm still trying to figure out a few. Anyway, that's what's going on. So have a good day. www.teaserking.com. All right. Have a nice day, everybody.